disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Well. Welcome everybody to another Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's a good friend, Mr. BDA, and I'm glad everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we got a fantastic one for you. Heavyweight bonanza that occurred last evening and last night. We're going to talk about that. There's a lot to talk about. As always, we are going to be taking your phone calls near the end of the hour, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way. You know the drill, fellas. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to mail them in via the Super Chat feature, although it's better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. The most important thing is that you continue to like, subscribe, spread that BDA gospel, alright, fellas? Don't forget you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and Spreaker at your leisure. Let's give a shout out to everybody out there in the chat. I'm talking about Z's, Gonzalo in the house as well. Shout out to Gonzalo, J. Colt, Shadow Combat, Sam Rando, Gucci Berserk, Mueller's in the house, Fluffy Toasters 89, Jonathan Merson, aka Action Jackson, Outlaw Boxing Club. Shout out to Jet Kyle in the house as well. Shout out to him, Skull Kid. Who else? Warped Speed. Shout out to Warped Speed. Says hola levato. Sundays with Mr. BDA and King Bucho. Así es, compa. Eddie Valenzuela. Shout out to him as well. Bray. How many more people to come? I'm sure, fellas, thank you for joining us. Team Batman Boxing in the house as well. Shout out to him. All right, well, listen. We had a relatively good competitive match last evening between Usyk and Dubois. That's the one we're going to start with. Not without controversy. It is controversy laden because of the low blow. We're going to actually, I'm a little dubious of playing clips of just the low blow itself because we want to get down to the bottom of whether it was an actual low blow or whether it was a legit body shot. But I'm actually kind of weird playing it because of the copyright issues, but I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. Just stick to the nitty-gritty. That way we don't get in trouble for it. All right, fellas. All right, let me just call a couple of people here, start cooking with a little hot grease. And then we'll get down to it. Like I said, hey, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. All right. Where's the group here? There we go. All right. I'm calling a couple of people here. See what we've got going. What else are people saying in the chat? Timothy says, shout out to Timothy, says hello to the panel in the chat. Hold on a second. All right, we got Jimmy jumping in. We've got Gonzalo, I think. Yeah, Gonzalo's here as well. Actually, I forget to call Chief all the time. I don't know if he's available right now. I'm going to send him an invite either way. All right, fellas. We're on the air here, and I'm going to be sharing the screen with you, so please make sure to look at the screen that I'm sharing here. Don't look at your television screen, your computer screen. Really look at the one here on Discord. Like I said, we got the guns, we got the Jim Marino. Fellas, it was an interesting fight last night. Dubois performed to his maximum which we talked about before the fight, that it could be a possibility that he would give Usyk some trouble. Nevertheless, Usyk went out to knock him out in the 9th round, dropped him 3 times, I believe, before scoring the stoppage. But not without controversy, this fight, fellas. You might have been aware of the low blow that people are talking about. First of all, before anybody gives their opinion, let's take a look at the evidence and see what we've got going here. Was this indeed a low blow? Now, before I do that, actually, I'm just going to play it straight up, fuck the context, and then I'll add more, some of the stuff that I've been seeing floating around Twitter. Because again, people appear to be divided by this. Hold on a second. Can anybody see the screen I'm sharing, by the way? Fellas, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure, BD.
Yes.
100%.
Oh,
Copy.
Copy. 10-4. All right. Oscar,
Come in,
Bravo.
sir.
Oscar, Bravo, Delta. All right. Now, all right. So I'm gonna put the video up here on the screen. Right now, this is the low blow. I'm gonna play it full speed and then I'll rewind it slow motion. Well, actually, that is slow motion. Let me play it again one more time. All right. Now let's go frame by frame. Oh shit! Hold on. That's not frame by frame. Let's go frame by frame right here. Who wants to go first? What do you guys think?
Yeah. Okay, you want to go, Jimmy?
Somebody better go.
Okay,
You
in
go,
regards to
Gonzalo.
the punch, I don't think it was low. I don't think it was low. Because if the judge, if the referee would have started counting, nobody would be saying now that it was low. Only because he said it was low, people perceive it like that. But my personal opinion, no, it wasn't.
You want to keep going with the video here? You want to point something out or?
No, I'll talk about the fight later, but let Jimmy go. In regards to this punch, that's all I have to say about that.
All right.
All right. Now, if you want to look at the actual, according to the Association of Boxing Commissions, their rule is that's a low blow. Any punch below the navel is considered a low blow in boxing. I don't think most people realize that. It's then when when a referee will come over, okay, anything here below. What they're really essentially doing is they're supposed to be going to the fighter's navel, and sometimes the navel is covered, and most times covered by the belt line. So they'll look and where they assume the nail, right, that's the navel. The low blow is there from anything there down. So by the letter of the law, that is a low blow. Contact was made below the belly button. What's happening there is he's lifting up. A couple of things at play. That ring, I almost couldn't watch that fight, watching Usyk's back leg slip out from under him at least 30 fucking times because nobody thought to go in between the rounds and dry the fucking ring down with a towel. Just insane. So wet canvas it's worst. But anyway, so he kind of slipped as he went to go back, but he was jumping up. What happened is a lot of people think a low blow has to be punched right directly in the dude's dick or in his balls to be a low blow. No, low blow is anything below the navel where the contact, and where contact starts is where the blow is, where it rides up his pants after. But what happens is I've never been killed over from a low blow because somebody punched me directly in the balls. It was always that type of thing there. It catches you in your cup, right? And it fucking drives your cup up and separates the fucking kids. It's the worst. And that's what happened there. And if it wasn't a low blow, right, Usyk, if that was just a shot to the stomach, especially that side of the stomach, because that's not even the side your liver's on, and it did punch him in the solar plex, he wouldn't have reacted the way he reacted. Like like his face instantaneously because it took his leg out from him because it was the nuts. His cup pinched his balls. 100%. It pulled his shorts up. You could see his Ukrainian flag tattoo on his upper thigh there. But yeah, when I looked at it from the television, like when I'm watching the fight, I'm like, oh, that was borderline. But if you actually break it down and you see where the actual contact makes on Usyk and go by the letter of the law, any punch below the navel, period. There's no ambiguity there in that rule. Any punch below the navel is considered a low blow. which means obviously Andre Ward should have been fucking disqualified for the ones he hammered into Kovalek. Kovalek's nutsack, but yes. But I can understand if I was a fan of, like, say, Dubois, I'd be like pissed. Like, oh, come on, it was right on the belt line. But at the same token, he wouldn't have reacted that way if it didn't fucking hurt his nuts. He wasn't killed over because, oh, my body, it took the wind out of me. He reacted that way because it hurt his fucking, the kids. But that's just my take on it.
Jimmy, you hit the nail on the head.
Hey, Jimmy.
Go ahead, Gonzalo, go ahead.
BDA, no, because I recall, like, this is a different fight, and of course it's a different, it's different altogether. But when Crawford hit Amir Khan, I think that was way lower, and people were saying, "Nah, he quit." And but this was like actually higher, right? So what is it with Amir Khan? Did he hit the cup and that carried over to the balls? But here, okay, was it low to the balls directly, or was it the cup, Jimmy? What do you think?
Well, personally, I think the cup pinched him. He got the pit, because if you look, he's going up, and when it catches him, when you hit going up like that, it's driving the cup up into your balls. That's what happened. But he's reacting because of the pain to his nuts, not the pain to the body, because there's that side, the right hand to your lower left hand abdominal region, there's nothing there that's going to cause that kind of pain. If he hit you above the navel, it's your liver's on the other side. You know what I mean? On the other side of your body. So, yeah, or it's either the solar plexus, what takes the wind out of you, or it's a liver shot that just makes your legs disappear. That's not the case. What happened is he was reacting to pain to his groin, and the groin was in pain because the cup came up and pinched him. And again, if the referee wouldn't have called it a low blow, I wouldn't have got on that referee, because things happen at such a fast pace out there. That's why I'm a big proponent of, I think referees should have access to replay in case of a situation like that, because that could dictate who wins or loses a fight. There's a lot of archaic things we need to catch up on. But yes, so for going by the letter of the law, again, no ambiguity, there's nothing to debate. Anything below the navel is a low blow, and that punch may contact and follow through below the navel. So for that, for the letter of the law, it was a low blow. But again, I can see why, just a view of it, people would be upset.
Yeah, again, we need to clarify exactly what Jimmy just clarified, but I think it bears repeating. For people, a low blow, the term low blow, is synonymous with not shot. That's not what it is. If the referee says this punch below here are good, blah, 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 or above here are good. I saw the replay of the fight when the fighters are facing off in the middle of the ring. Usually that's when the ref repeats. Punches here, or guard here's a little high, punches here are good. He didn't say any of that. So we don't know, where the referee actually told them where the punches were good. He probably did that in the back, in the locker room, which is where usually they say those things as well. Now, I just want to show here a picture of Usyk. This is right before the start of the fight. And you can see that his trunks are a little high. You can't see the belly button, but just knowing basic anatomy, you can assume that the belly button, or you can gauge the belly button somewhere around the upper part of that occult symbol, that satanic symbol that he's got there on his trunks. So anything below that technically is a low blow. If we go back to the video here, hold on a second. If we go back to the video here, you can see that occult symbol there, the belly button. Let's be generous and say it's in the middle of that occult symbol. Look at Dubois' glove. He's not throwing the uppercut in the standard motion where you actually dip, or what's the word I'm looking for here? Twist the glove. He's throwing it kind of the way Juan Manuel Marquez throws uppercuts, which is you leave the glove as it is at a vertical angle. I don't know if I'm explaining it properly, but you can see here that because of that, he's grabbing not only a legal part, some of it is legal, but some of it is also illegal. Or right there, you can, again, let's go back to the photograph here for context. See that where the symbol is? He's hitting it, he's hitting the symbol, but also below it. So technically it is a low blow. My thing is this, it's up to the referee. If he saw that it was a low blow, then it's a low blow, because it is indeed, part of it is indeed low. It wasn't a nut shot. like Usyk's shot nuts aren't here. If they are, then he's a very special guy. But it's a low blow. Now, did he ham it up? I think so, because when he fought Joshua in the second fight, he was getting hit with some big shots to the body, and he was kind of looking at the referees like, hey. But he never stopped fighting. He never dropped to the ground. This time he did drop to the ground, which bears the question. I'm looking at it. My opinion is that it's half legal right here, obviously, on the belt line, and then below the belt line as well. But if it was, now that that's established, let's say it was legal. Let's say if it was like, why didn't Dubois go back to the body that way again? If he was, because people are saying Usyk can't take it to the body. Well, just go back to the body, which he did. And Usyk continued taking the shots. So it's not a black and white issue that people make it out to be. What do you guys think about that?
Well, he's a weird guy too. Yeah, he's a weird guy too, to really understand what's running through his head, because he's built like a fucking Mack truck, but he's got the essence of I don't know, Mazda Miata. Dude fucking quit. It wasn't a broken eye socket this time. He got 5 minutes, used it to recover. So this guy was standing there, clearing his head and taking a long breath. So I mean, he wasn't tired. So why did he kept going a few times, but at the same time, Usyk kept signaling to the referee, hey, he's going low again, which he really wasn't. Maybe 1 out of the 3 or 4 times he attempted. He should have tried more though, BDA, in my opinion.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and I want to get to that after we get this out of the way. By the way, Dead Game in the chat, shout out to Dead Game for badmouthing us on other shows saying that we're racist. But he says 100% legal. Well, obviously, we just saw it's not 100% legal. Some of it is legal, some of it is illegal, as it's under the belt line right there. So I think Dead Game needs to drop the bottle, drop the alcohol. It's too early in the day. You can't say it's 100% legal. Timothy says Oscar used to wear his trunks high too. Well, that's the thing. The Oscar de Loya against Fernando Vargas. That's also going to take us to another thing I want to discuss about the belt lines. They're too high nowadays in boxing. They're not as high as when Lennox Lewis wore it high against Holyfield in the first fight, or conversely when Holyfield wore it way too high in the second fight. And it's not even just the trunks. It's in those cases it was the protector cup that was way up to the fucking armpits. This wasn't that high. But still, fighters weigh a little bit too high. You should be able to see the belly button. Here, you could barely see it from, what's his name? Usyk. Now, in no other show would we show so many close-ups of men's crotches, but this is boxing and it's a special occasion. So I guess we can get away with it today. Let me show you a super close-up that somebody posted on Twitter of the shot, just to give you guys a better understanding of what's going on here, if indeed you require it. There we go. So you can see the belt line starts near that red line. The symbol takes up part of the legal part and part of the illegal part. And you can see that the shot is landing half and half. So again, it's up to the referee's discretion there. He saw that half of it would land low. Therefore, it was a low blow. Now, it's not a nut shot. That's not the definition of a low blow. Therefore, it is a low blow, and it's up to the referee's discretion. What gets me, though, is how some people are saying, the people that keep saying that it's low, they only show one angle, which is an angle from Dubois' left side. And thus, part of Usyk's thigh and lower body is obscuring the actual shot. And the fact that they keep using that angle and not this one, the one that we've played here, which is the clearest one, makes me scratch my head and go, why aren't they showing this shot or this angle? It's a little weird. I don't know if people's biases come into place. I hate to cast aspersions. I'm trying to stick to the visual facts here. And again, I see it as half clean, half low. Did Usyk play it up a little bit? I don't know. I didn't take the shot. I've taken shots. Actually, I've never taken a shot that low, by the way, in that part of the body. To the sides, yes, not down the middle. So I don't know how much it would hurt. I'm touching the part under the belly here, and it is quite... Well, Jimmy and Gonzalo, have you ever taken a shot in that area? Just to clarify here.
Many times.
Yeah, sometimes.
It does. Look, I've never gotten hit there. It feels tender. What did you guys feel compared to other standard body shots?
Well, again, it depends if it was a left hand and it would catch your liver. And if it's deep enough, it's going to actually fold into your liver. That side of your body, he wouldn't react. And look at, if Usyk would have taken the shot and then looked at the referee to see his response first, and then like fell to the ground and was like trying to hammer up to get a break, that I could understand. Like, okay, that was sketchy. He instantly reacted. He dropped down, grabbing his groin. Like, it wasn't like, oh, my stomach. He reached right for his nuts. And, I mean, clearly he was in pain. But, again, if it wasn't a low blow, if his nuts weren't hurt, he wouldn't have fell like that. That's not the type of punch, that type of your body. Again, it's not your solar plexus or it's not a liver shot. It doesn't take your legs out from under you. And, again, anything below the belly button. And in that video, it clearly shows it hits below the belly button. I mean, so it's like one of the things. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, my
the liver shot is like it's like a burning sensation, a burning feeling, right? And I think that's if that would have been like a liver shot, he wouldn't have felt backwards like that. He would have been like in the fetal position to the side. That was like a bladder shot, from what I've heard, and I think they're kind of right about that. It was like a bladder shot. So I see what they're saying, but yeah, it was close, man.
Yeah, it was close. My verdict is part of it landed low, so it is technically a low blow. Did Usyk ham it up a bit? I don't know. That would require me to get into his head. I do know that when Joshua was hitting him with some body shots in the first fight, he was complaining a little bit. And then when Joshua went down to the body more in the second, Usyk was complaining way more. But then again, he never went down from those body shots. And this one was a big uppercut in the tender area, so I can understand why Usyk went down, if indeed he felt that way. But again, it begs the question, now that we go into speculation, I'd like to understand why, if it was indeed a legal shot, why didn't Dubois go down there more with the same shot? If it's so easy, because Tim Bradley said, well, Eastern Europeans can't take it to the body. He said that during the second event of the night on the ESPN, which, by the way, when the lawyer said blacks can't take it to the body back in 1997, when he was talking about Pernell Whitaker, that caused a little bit of an uproar. Now, there's a difference between going, referencing an ethnicity or race, rather, and saying Eastern Europeans, which aren't technically a race unless Foka wants to. I think we would need somebody like Foka to clarify that. But still, it's still stereotyping. And from what I understand nowadays, stereotyping is a sin. So I don't know how Bradley can get away with that type of comment. But you can't say it about any other group. But it is what it is. But the point is, if Usyk can't take it to the body, then Joshua would have fucking taken him out in the 24 rounds that they fought. And Dubois did continue hitting him to the body, and he didn't go down afterwards. So this whole thing about Usyk not being able to take it downstairs, I think it's a little bit, I think it is an exaggeration. And again, based on the verdict of this fight, it does appear like it was half a low blow, half a legal blow. The verdict stands. That's my opinion. If anybody wants to, we're going to be taking phone calls. So if anybody wants to call back, sorry, just real quick. If anybody wants to call back, call in and give us their opinion. But yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
No, I was going to say too, with that particular incident, now he was allotted 5 minutes. That drove me crazy that the ref was like making him take the 5 minutes when a fighter's saying, no, I'm ready to fight. You let him fight. That was very, very bizarre on that also the reason why he probably didn't go back there is like trying as hard, because remember, I'm sure he got a hard warning by the ref. He probably went over to him, probably even said, you're lucky I'm not taking a point, because usually when you injure somebody to that extent with a low blow, sometimes even if it's the first one, they'll give you a point. They'll take a point. So he probably went over to him and said, that's your warning. Next time you hit him low, I'm going to pull a point from you, which if I was him, I wouldn't have worried about it, because there's no way he was going to win a points decision. So I wouldn't have let that, stop me from going there. So anyways, I think I'm out offering an explanation, albeit just a guesstimation of why he might not have, because he maybe not want to get disqualified.
I want to tap into something that Jimmy mentioned earlier, because I was going to say it too. Like, in regards to this, but I'm going to start off by saying the boy, he did okay. He could have done better. Really, he left it on the line, man. He should have thrown fucking heavy power, because he was not going to box Usyk, and that's the way the fight was playing out. Timothy Bradley was right when he said that Dubois cannot transition from offense to reacting and defending and to attacking again. So basically, he's very one-dimensional, right? But I'm going to say this. I don't think the ring apron helped him out at all. When you can't get your footing underneath you, right? And you're basically slipping and sliding all over the place. So it kind of goes for both ways too. It goes for Usyk and for Dubois. I think they could have got done better if they would have been more sure-footed on that ring apron. But since it was raining and you could hear the screeching of the of the slippers, their boxing shoes. Obviously, you can't go from defending to attacking because you cannot get your balance the way
Now,
you need to. I think, and that affected the quality of the fight for both fighters.
before I get into that, Gonzalo, first of all, you know the rules here. We don't call people's shoes, boxing shoes, we call them kicks. Just to show people we're cooked. Those are some cool kicks. Now, but I'll say this, man. Before I get to what you said, Gonzalo, about the actual fight, to what Jimmy said about the Usyk thing, and I mean the referee encouraging him to take the 5 minutes was highly suspect. That's not something that the referee should be able to do. I mean that's not something the referee tends to do. The last time I saw something so bizarre from a referee was when Lawrence Cole Jr., whatever his name is, the son of the Texas commissioner, and remember Marquez fought Jimenez Haka from the Philippines, and he got hit he got opened up from a headbutt, and the guy Lawrence Cole told Marquez, and he tried to occult the mic, by the way, so that people couldn't hear what he was saying, but everybody heard what he said. He said, "You were ahead on the scorecards," something like that. I think that's what he told him. He's like, "What the fuck? That's not." The referee's not supposed to say that. So it sort of reminded me of this a little bit. Why is he encouraging him to take that? If Usyk's telling him, "I'm ready," and the guy goes, no, take your 5 minutes. Like, what? That's veering on the level of instruction or advice. It's my advice that you take. The referee is supposed to be unbiased. He's supposed to say the rule says this. Do you want it? Yes or no? That's it. Don't start telling the guy, take the 5 minutes. Hey, maybe you should. What's next? Hey, maybe you should sit down this way. That way, it's gonna be better for you. It's gonna be better rest. I mean, it was bizarre, man.
Yeah, he voted for Joe Biden for sure, huh? He's rolling with the Dems.
He's Puerto Rican. Puerto Ricans are allowed to vote, or you guys tell me. You guys are American. Technically, Puerto Rico's.
I don't know. Maybe he's probably got the citizenship by now. Luis Pavon, because he's been working in the United States as a referee for a long time.
I was waiting for him to ask him if he needed a drink. Can I get you something to drink? Just sit down there, take a load off. I mean, it was just crazy the way he was just pushing that.
Make yourself comfortable. You want something? What can I get you something to drink? Yeah, that was bizarre. And then in the beginning of that ESPN telecast, they show Ukraine, they show Zelensky. It's like, way to politicize an event, guys. Really, thumbs down to ESPN for doing that. Keep it boxing. Keep it boxing. Don't start fucking giving us opinions about the war and then the comment Michael Buffer fighting for the Ukraine, the people of the Ukraine. It's like, oh fuck! I had to scratch my head at that one. Real quick, shout out to Uriah Smith for his contribution with the super chat. He says, ref 2 pro Usyk, punch legal, honest Usyk fan. Yeah, listen, that. Whether you want to say about the low blow thing, if you still believe that was a legitimate shot and you want to say that the referee was being biased towards Usyk, it's true, man. I mean, why did he tell him take the 5 minutes? He insisted on that. That's weird, man. That's not a referee's place, man. I'm right there with you on that one. As for the low blow, we'll rewind if you want to hear your verdict on that. Now, I want to get into the fight, by the way. During the fight, and I want to touch on what some of Gonzalo said too. Dubois, one of the things we said before the fight was he's got relatively quick feet for a heavyweight. That's his main line of defense. He likes to step back a little bit, keep his opponents turning. For a guy his size, is actually pretty quick. But one of the things that worried me for Dubois before the fight was his lack of a guard. And I said, that's going to get him tagged up something awful against Usyk. Well, lo and behold, he was actually incorporating more head movement in this fight. There were times where Usyk was flailing at the wind, which is uncharacteristic of him. So that goes credit to Dubois for doing that. That being said, Usyk it seemed like his timing was a little off. Also, I think he started off slowly because of his age and the inactivity. Again, he's going to be 37, or I think he's already 37. For a heavyweight that relies on his speed and reflexes that way, a year layoff, maybe that's why he started off slowly because of those factors. Also, again, giving credit to Dubois, he was countering quickly, so Usyk had to mind his P's and Q's in there. But there was a point where I was thinking Dubois was being a little bit too cautious, and I started thinking, hey, maybe all this talk from his team and from himself about how they were going to rough Usyk up and they were going to hit whatever they could, maybe that was all a ruse, kind of like Barrera before Hamed, where he said he was gonna make it a street fight, and then it turns out a fight, and he decided, the plan was really to box. But then I started hearing during the fight when Dubois was way too cautious. I heard his team screaming, "Back him up, back him up," and I said, the plan was indeed to keep him backing up, to rough him up. It's just Dubois couldn't do it. That's the thing. It wasn't an illusion. It wasn't, hey, let's say we're going to rough him up and then actually twist it up on him, and actually the plan all along was to outbox him. That's not what it was. Because again, his corner kept saying rough him up. He just couldn't do it. And that's credit to Usyk too.
He was very sensitive to let go of the right hand because he was afraid that he was going to get countered. Right, and he wasn't gonna know how to keep reacting under Usyk's attacks. When he was coupling the hook after he was throwing the right hand, yeah, he was catching Usyk sometimes. You know how the Ukrainians, how they say they usually like to take like these 45s and like these angles.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when he was throwing the right hand and he coupled it with the hook, he was kind of meeting Usyk at that corner when he wasn't getting overwhelmed. But at some point, yeah, Usyk picked up on that and switched it from fighting one way to slightly altering it to a different way. That's why Usyk is an intelligent fighter, man. And that swivel hook is fucking deadly, bro. The swivel hook. And when he gets up on your chest and he throws like a punch that's going to like punch through your head, even though he doesn't punch that hard, you got nowhere to go, man. Your head and your body snapping back and your feet are not behind you. So it's one of those things, man. It's like, man, this dude doesn't punch hard, but he's really good.
Yeah, that swivel hook, it shook him up, something awful. Sent sweat flying all over the place. You could tell his head snapped to the side. That's the thing, though. Could Dubois have continued?
Well,
anybody want to?
I mean, this time around, he didn't get his orbital bone broken. And once again, when Luis Pavon gave him the 5 minutes, okay, that's a long break. Now, what round was that? He was pretty like where he got his wind back. So it wasn't one of those things where he was dead tired. He didn't get his face broken, but at the same time, I could see how the apron was slippery and he couldn't really like load on them heavy shots, and that's why he didn't throw as much and as often. But that's kind of like a lame excuse, maybe.
Right.
I'm just saying he kind of quit, in my opinion.
I mean, the thing about Usyk was, again, he kind of started off slowly in this one, again, because of the myriad of factors that I mentioned. But once he started turning it on, and you could, again, Dubois was a heavier man. He was fighting like at 120%. He was really fighting the fight of his life. Takes a lot out of a big guy like that. And if I have to veer into speculation, it did seem like he could have continued, but you could tell he was feeling the effects of the damage, the fight itself, the pace. And I think he said, you know what, like his demeanor showed the referee that it was time to call it quits.
Exactly. I think that's the key right there, his demeanor, because when he got he was giving him the count. And you can kind of tell, you can just look at a guy's, mannerism, how he's acting, posturing himself if he plans on jumping up at the 9 count. This guy was, you can also tell the guys who, I'm going to make it seem like I wanted to, but I just missed it. Because he's kind of like going to get up, and you could tell like he just didn't want to go on. And you know how you can tell that he didn't complain once when he waved it off. When he stood up and he's like, nah, it's over. And Dubois just sunk his head down and turned and walked away. He said, what are you saying? That was up, right? I mean, nothing like that at all. So he clearly didn't think he beat the count, or didn't protest that he beat it. So, yeah, I think he was just getting he was tired. And again, those punches, it's not that they hurt you more when you're tired, but when you starve for oxygen, the same thing as you're drunk, you go out easier. It's easier to knock somebody out when there's no oxygen in their blood.
Exactly. I mean, at this point, that's what I want to get to here, because the thing that I'm talking about here, and I don't know if this is exact or not, because again, it's not taking credit away from Dubois, because I think partly one of the reasons why Usyk was being very cautious early on, like I said, Dubois' size, and we've talked about this too before the fight. He's got relatively quick hands for a guy his size. So, and then on top of that, the inactivity. That's something that we've touched on this show for a while now too. Inactivity. I know part of that wasn't Usyk's fault. He was trying to chase Fury for the past year. That didn't happen. But also, again, he's a heavyweight, relatively small heavyweight that relies on speed and timing and reflexes. And if that's going away, then it's only going to get harder for him. Also, if I'm looking at the stats here, where is it? Yeah, Usyk is going to be turning 37 this January. He's got a couple of months left to enjoy his 36 years of age. He's actually 30. He's going to be 37. So if he stays idle for another year, let's say he fights Fury in May or July, whatever, he's going to be 37. This is going to sound crazy, guys. I think he should take another fight pronto. Forget about Fury and Gano. You never know how that's going to go. You never know what Fury's going to retire after the fight or whatever. Take another fight. Now, it doesn't have to be against one of the top 3 guys in the world, but somebody that's going to get you acclimated to fighting a different style of fighter than Joshua and Dubois. Somebody with a little dexterity. So this might seem crazy, but fight a fucking Joseph Park.
It's not crazy at all. So it's the ideal thing. It would be the perfect thing. That's the smart thing. Fight more often.
But let me just say this.
You know what I mean? Don't fight less.
Right, but let me just say this. The type of opponents he could fight. Joseph Parker, a guy with upper body movement, kind of like Tyson Fury. A guy like Jonathan Rice. I don't think that's too crazy. He's 6'5" tall, and he's got a very good dexterity. And I think Usyk's going to need that. Again, not all fighters are the same. All fighters are different, I should say. Some fighters like Bernard Hopkins could stay in their 40s and fight once a year and still preserve themselves. Others maybe might. Again, my contention is that because Usyk's style is dependent on speed and reflexes and all that, it would serve him better to actually fight and not just stay sharp, so-called sharp in the gym. I think get a fight against a guy that's got some upper body movement like Tyson Fury, prepare for that, like a Jonathan Rice, Joseph Parker. I heard, Jimmy, you said you agree. What do you think about that, those type of opponents?
Any opponent, but especially one that can mimic opponent that you plan on fighting soon. But yeah, the older you get, every year, every fight could be the one that your legs finally go. You know what I mean? Especially for someone like you said, depends on timing and speed and all those attributes that he has are conducive for someone who fights more often than someone who shouldn't fight less often. So yes, I would take anything, just anything, doesn't matter. Fight just to stay active, put your body through it.
Well, also too, like for him to make the weight that he's coming in the ring now, he's got to eat like I don't know how many times a day. I think he said it a long time ago, like a few years back, or a year and a half ago, like 4 or 5 times, maybe 6, I don't know, just to maintain that weight. That's a lot of work, man. Even on your off time, basically you got to be a fat ass in order to make the weight. Then do a little weights after when you start training, right, BD?
Right, yeah. No, you're right, man. You're right. Let me just read a couple of super chats here before
That's a lot of work on the organism, BDA, because as opposed to fasting, one more thing, as opposed to fasting, your body rests. The factory is turned off. But when you're fucking constantly putting food in the factory, the organs are working at a higher rate. So yeah, that's a lot of wear and tear too.
Now, let me just say this real quick. Shout out to LL for his contribution to Super Chat. He says, it grazed the cup. It definitely wasn't super low. Shout out to LL for his contribution. Yeah, it doesn't need to be super low. It just has to be low. So shout out to LL, just to clarify that issue. And shout out to Michael Poe for his contribution to Super Chat. He says, if Great Poupon started to make 10 count, what is Lucy could have gotten up? I know he stayed down for a while, but what if? I think he means Usyk. Look, I've heard some people speculating about that, if the ref had said that it was a legit body shot, Usyk would have gotten up. I don't know. That's speculation. Again, that's like speculating about how hurt Usyk was. We don't know. We didn't take the shot. But the fact is, by looking at the replay, half of it was, if you want to rewind about our verdict, it was that half of the punch was low, half of it was on the bed line. But nevertheless, it was low. That's what the referee went on with. So that's our contention right there. I see we got Recognize jumping in here. Recognize, we're talking about...
I posted a video.
Uh-huh.
Salute, gentlemen. Salute.
What's going on, Recognize? This is how BD. I posted a video somebody sent me where it's kind of broken down and it magnifies the impact spot.
Yeah, I just watched it, Jimmy. And even I didn't watch the fight yesterday. So BDA sent me the whole fight. I won't say how he sent me it, but he did. And even watching it as it happened, that was a low blow. I think the commentary was very suspicious. saying Dubois should be the unified champion. He, as you know, Usyk was counted out, et cetera, et cetera. He was down more than 10 seconds. This is, I'm paraphrasing here. They robbed Dubois. Is basically what they were saying. It was just bad. This was like the worst commentary I've ever seen. It's like, look, a borderline punch is when you hit skin and the belt line. A low blow, a clear low blow, is when you hit the belt line, and your fist hits below the belt line. That's a clear 100% below the belt, and so you can't count somebody out. I think what's happening is that a lot of Western fans got used to when Andre Ward clearly low blow Kovalev and got awarded a TKO. So they're like, wait a second, this was actually a little bit better. It wasn't as obvious. I think it was just as bad. But so I think boxing fans are very dishonest. Let's just be honest. And it starts with commentary. Most of these people you see on YouTube, they don't generate their own opinion. They don't formulate their own opinion. They formulate their opinion is formulated as it happens. So they heard the broadcaster saying Dubois should be the champion right now, not really looking at that at the video. And it's clear as day that what Jimmy put in the chat, that's a clear 100% low blow. Remember, a borderline low blow shot is you hit skin and the belt line. A clear low blow is when you hit the belt line and you hit underneath it.
Well, listen, I want to say this. Man.
I hope let
me say this.
I hope this.
Yeah, let me say this. Let me say this because there's some people in the chat saying, "Oh, the LDBC are calling it a legit body shot." I could give a shit what the LDBC says, man. I mean, look, these guys. These are the same. This is the same group that said that for years they insisted that Tyson Fury had egg weights. They came up with all sorts of stupid theories that all of a sudden they disappeared as soon as Fury beat the crap out of Wilder a second time. They're the same people that said Stephen Fulton was going to school Inoue and that Inoue was overrated, never fought anybody. The same people that said Spence was going to wipe the floor with Terence Crawford. I mean, at what point do you look at what they're saying and say, maybe these people are fucking low IQ? I don't know. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Michael Poe for his contribution to the super chat. He says, it's a PR nightmare for Alexander Usyk. It's not his fault. And he pretty much won every round. So I hope they have a rematch. What about Otto Wallin? Well, Wallin's a southpaw. That wouldn't really prepare him for Fury. It's not exactly the same style. But I mean, it would be an interesting fight. Don't get me wrong. But shout out to Michael Poe for his contribution.
Yeah, it would be an interesting fight. I think Wallin will give Usyk a lot of problems.
But I want to say this too.
There'll be a lot of issues there.
Yeah, they recognize they wanted Carl Frampton and Carl Froch. A lot of people wanted Dubois to win, so they can make Dubois versus Tyson Fury 100% all British affair, kind of like they're doing with Leah Wood and Josh Warrington now. You know what I mean? Sweet Caroline.
Well, I want to say this too, man. I think
it's that. I'm sorry, BDA. Go ahead.
Just was going to say that we showed the evidence. We'll play it again if people want. But if you rewind and look at our verdict about when we're watching the so-called blow in slow motion, you can see that, again, half of it is legit body shot, the other isn't. It's below the belt line. It's a low blow. But some people still want to insist despite the video evidence. It reminds me of when I showed a compilation of Shakur Stevenson low blowing Conseil Sayo throughout the fight, and despite the evidence, some people still insisted those are on the belt line. Yeah. So I'm just the only reason why I'm clarifying. The only reason why I want to say this is because people choose to see what they want to see. You will not be able to change their mind. Look into a branch of philosophy called phenomenology. It's about and it also veers into psychology and the processes of the brain. The processes of the brain. People choose to see what they want to see and they believe it.
They want to see.
Right.
Yep. Look, it's no mystery that you have fighters going out there saying how to beat Usyk, and when you hear how to beat Usyk, they're telling you to cheat. You know what I'm saying? Within the rules of boxing. You know what I'm saying? Like, break the rules a little bit. Because if you're fighting him head on, more than likely he's gonna, because it's a sport, right? So within the rules of boxing, he probably beats everybody at the heavyweight, barring him getting knocked out, right? Like, he just fights a bigger dude who just catches him flush somehow and knocks him the fuck out, right? But if it's within the rules of boxing, and I'm gonna enforce every single rule, which what the referee did, and shout out to Usyk. What have we been talking about? Some of these foreign fighters got to speak up. You got to be vocal. You got to be like, yo, he's hitting me low. Do something about that. When you do that, you put the referee on blast. Even if it's like, you know, let's say if the referee was told, you know, let the fight get a little dirty. He can't allow himself to be exposed like that. You get what I'm saying? So
Right.
you've got to be kind of vocal in the case that is happening. Okay, if that is happening, you, the fighter, say, yo, he's fucking hitting me low. Just keep an eye out on that. And the referee did a good job. That was a low blow.
That's the thing about the referee, though, recognize. He sort of muddied the waters when he insisted that what's his name, Usyk, take the 5 minutes. That's why people are getting all up in arms, because there was some bias from the referee. Again, if you look at the evidence, the low blow was half.
Discretion. Yeah, there's. I'll be willing to listen. I wouldn't rule it out that he gave him 5 minutes when maybe he didn't have to. You get what I'm saying? Like he probably did that. But who knows, right? Like yeah, I'm willing to say yeah. Maybe they want Usyk to win this fight, but that was a clear low blow. If you understand the rules, so if the referee, you know, the instructions are given in the middle of the ring. On terms of where the belt line is at. All right. Now I didn't see that in the video that you showed me. Now if he said here's good where his belt line is at, right? If he said exactly where the belt line is at, here is good. Anything underneath that is low. That was a clear low blow. That was a clear low blow because belt line and underneath belt line is a clear low blow. Look it up. It's a low blow. It's a low
I'll
blow.
Say this. I'll say this. Apparently, what's his name? Frank Warren, Dubois' promoter, is gonna appeal this. Now, if they can somehow get this repeal. By the way, Usyk said, "Yeah, we'll do a rematch. We'll do it in a street fight." He said. So he feels that Dubois hit him legit. That it was his intent to hit him low. And again, if you want to look for motive, that the fact that Dubois might have done that on purpose, he himself and his team kept saying that they were going to rough him up. So could we interpret that as saying we're going to do whatever it takes to win? I don't know. Again, that's speculation. The point is, I got to tell you, we were talking about Usyk staying active. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. Put this whole thing to rest, just like Fury Wilder. Just do a fucking rematch. Why not? Keep both guys active in an age where fighters nowadays, at best they get 2 fights per year. Fucking do a rematch.
And
Dubois was doing very well in there.
6 rounds this time.
Well, I mean, listen, Dubois was doing very well in there. I mean, he
was, but I think Usyk knows what to do now exactly, and you see he could land hard punches when he wanted to, and he probably beats him even easier this time.
Well, we shall see, man.
Put him in a dry ring where the apron is not moist at all. Because I mean, I can't believe, man, these fucking big fights, dude. Like, we're big. It's just, man, I can't believe they haven't found a solution for that.
And you know what's funny though, too, guys, is we always hear the narrative. Well, they have to come to the United States because they can't get any. You know, they don't sell. There was 46,000 people there last night. I think the announced attendance was 45,900 and something, and about 40,000 of them were Ukrainians. So maybe that's why Jim Lampley said that. But it did suck that ESPN should never make shit political. But
Jim Lampley was calling the fight on the Sky. I think maybe on the Sky Sports.
Yeah.
Jimmy, what telecast were you? Hold on, Jim Lampley was doing because I was watching the ESPN one. And
I'm not Jim Lampley. I'm sorry. Buffer. Was it Buffer who said?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
no, because Jim Lampley.
Yeah, when he announced,
I was confused. I was confused because Jim Lampley apparently he will be continuing he's gonna come back on for the Charlo Canelo, not for Showtime, but for the international telecast. So I said, maybe I don't know if you were watching the international one. Maybe Lampley was doing that one as well. But it'll be interesting to hear him back. See if he still has it. But yeah, the ring, man. I mean, how the fuck you can't put if you're supposed to look out for every factor out there. If you're gonna hold a fight outdoors and there's a possibility that it's gonna rain. I mean, even a week beforehand, they say, hey, there's this percentage of likelihood that it's gonna rain, and they just I don't know how the fuck was the water dripping down into the canvas. That's like Jimmy and Gonzalo are saying. That's highly dangerous.
The wind, the mist, the moisture just got on the canvas. But
I don't know.
That's outside. That runs the risk. So why don't you just have guys with towels? For the love of God, you couldn't afford fucking 30 towels and just wipe the ring down between rounds.
Because they could do that easily. I thought it looked pretty cool. I mean, not that you want that to happen, but
get a
both
bunch
guys
of
were in that ring. So
get a bunch of ShamWows in there. Just grab a couple of ShamWows and just fucking slide them around the ring. And pronto, you got a dry canvas, man. It's not that difficult. No, but it is difficult.
Yeah, because like Timothy Bradley said, like for Dubois, a guy that can't transition from attacking to defending, that would be like extra difficult. And it goes both ways. It would also make it more difficult for Usyk, obviously. But now you're trying to transition from attacking to defending, and you're slipping and sliding back and forth. It's like, damn, dude, how can you even load up with hard shots? Because remember, these are big dudes. You got to get your feet like really like underneath you to throw a shot, right? I must imagine only.
You're right. You're absolutely right. By the way, I'm looking at the chat. People are still debating about the legitimacy of the shot or lack thereof, and I don't think we're ever gonna get to the bottom of this with some people. But it is what it is. It's boxing, man. It's there's always gonna be some controversy here. I'm curious to hear what people have to say. By the way, the phone lines are open, so if you want to call in, make sure to do that. The phone.
Yeah, call in and explain. Yeah, I would say call in and explain how a punch, if it's below the navel, isn't a low blow. I just want somebody to explain that.
Well, I'm going to stay out of this.
Exactly, Jimmy. And Jimmy, here's another thing. Like the referee clearly states the border of the low blow. Your belt line, what could be considered bordered. If I hit if my fist, my glove, hits your belt line and underneath it, that's a clear low blow. I mean, I don't understand what's hard to understand about that. And you can see from the replay that you showed, that's exactly what that was. So I can't count a guy out from that shot. I can't, especially if I already established what was considered low.
Well, I got to tell you, we've already got some phone calls coming in. Let's go straight to them. I guess people are eager to talk about what happened last night. We haven't even gotten into the ESPN card. Not that there was much to get to, but it is what it is. Hey, by the way, hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go back to the phone. Well, let's go to the phone. Let's go to 513. 513, you're on the air. 513, what's on your mind?
EDA, what's up, man? Hey, you just became my favorite boxing channel this morning, man. You said the realest stuff I've been telling people for years. What you said about Lennox Lewis had his cup all the way up to his titties against Holyfield in the first fight.
Well, I don't know about the titties, but listen. Actually, I had the photograph ready to go here. Where is it? Shit! I thought I had the photograph. But yeah,
you got to put that up because I've been telling people that on all these boxing channels. I'm like, because they always be crying about the judges in that fight. I'm saying, what about that boy cup all the way up to his chest? He couldn't land no body shots.
He did it on purpose. It was all.
He couldn't land no body shots.
If I remember correctly, because Ring Magazine did an article in the 2000s, I believe, talking about this epidemic of people putting the protective cup over. Look at this. I mean, I'm putting it up on the screen here. From what I understand, I think Lennox Lewis actually had that custom made for that fight. Look at that. I mean, both guys have it high, but Lennox Lewis is right up over the what do you call that? The wings, the lats.
Yeah, he couldn't land no body shots on him, could he? He couldn't land no rib shots or nothing. Look at it from the back. From the back, it was all the way up.
He had the Steve Urkel special.
But you know what I liked about Holyfield, though? I like that. Well, and Holyfield actually did it to him in the second fight. He said, "Hey, you do it to me, I'll do it to you." So
Yep,
both guys
yep.
were, see that? I mean, what the
But
fuck,
if
man?
you remember, but if
Right,
you
cool.
remember, if you watch the fight, George Foreman said it when he came into the ring. He said Emmanuel Stewart was complaining about Holyfield having his cup up too high, and he brought Lennox Lewis' cup all the way up to his chest. So that's another reason he dominated Holyfield so much. Now with this Dubois Usyk fight is null and void, because for you to finish a fight like that, it doesn't matter. You quit, you got dropped twice. I don't care if it was legal. You can't finish like that and then cry. What happened to the rest of the fight? You got to finish on your shield. At least let it go to a decision and then complain. But if you get your ass whooped, you can't say, well, oh, I knocked him out. No, you got to fight better than that, Danny.
Yeah, that's
You
a
know
good
something?
point.
The caller's 100% right. People called Mike Tyson out for saying, "Yo, you knocked out James Buster Douglas in the 8th round." Remember, he was like, "Yo, he was down more than 13 seconds." It don't matter, bro. When he was fighting you, he was beating the shit out of you. He got back up and then knocked your ass out.
Yep.
You know, so it doesn't
Yep.
even matter. So
Yep. You got.
I agree with the caller 100%.
All right, caller,
Yeah, because like you said, you finish it strong. You go to decision. You do it right, man. But man, excellent point, man. You the only one that called out that Lennox Lewis stuff, man. I'm gonna keep on listening, man. Thank y'all for taking my call, brother.
well, thank you for the call. Thank you for the call. Call back again next time. Take it easy out there.
Yes, sir.
All right, there we go. We're going back to the 90s with that one. But yeah, man, and I also want to point out that in the article they also talked about Johnny Tapia also had that custom thing there where he rode over, and De La Hoya when he fought Vargas. Look at how high his protective cup was, and that was against a body puncher.
De La Hoya was wearing pom-poms in that fucking.
So, I mean, you could argue that Vargas's one of his advantages was the body punching. Yeah, he was a better body puncher than De La Hoya, and his advantages were strength and body punching going into this fight. The fact that De La Hoya had him so high, one could argue took away Vargas's advantages unfairly.
Yeah,
And,
but look at De La Hoya's shoulders, bro. God damn. Like for a welterweight or whatever the fuck he was, he's got like he's got shoulders like a fucking super middleweight or something.
Yeah, and I remember when he was fighting Trinidad, I think, and George Foreman was like, "Those shoulders are intimidating, Trinidad." It's like, and Limpley and Merchant were like, "What the fuck? Could you elaborate on that?" Like, and he goes, "Just looking at those shoulders, he can intimidate a fighter." It's like, I don't know, maybe he's right. Maybe that's not the type of shit that only a fighter could say, because only a fighter would understand that if he's gone through that. But
when you're fighting a good fighter, like somebody who's your equal, and sometimes if he starts catching you with shots, you know what I'm saying, you might be focused on that. But that's like for a quick second, bro. You don't have time for that shit. Punches are coming at you. You don't got time to be looking at his shoulders.
And you know, recognize people like you and me, man. We excel when we're under fire. I mean, it's just that's the only time we really excel.
I
You
was
know what I
gonna
mean?
say that, but I don't want to sound like I'm bragging. Yeah.
All right, let's move on from this. We got to go back to the phone lines here. Let's go to 210. 210, you on the air. 210. What's on your mind?
BDA, what up? It's
What's up?
Southpaw Lefty out of Texas, aka Anthony.
Southpaw.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Hey, not much. I mean, hey, I guess Dubois didn't have that dog. What do you think?
Well, they said that they were gonna fight with a dog and all. I mean, he fought well, but he certainly didn't fight like the way he said he was, which was to. Well, I guess he did in that instance where he hit him with the low blow or the partial low blow, if you want to be fair. But what do you think about the fight, or what did you think about the fight?
Yeah, I think it was just it was just one of those. I think maybe it was the layoff. And maybe the mental letdown, like how do you get up for a guy like Dubois? You know, the fighters have these kinds of nights. And with people saying, oh, it was low, I mean, it's debatable. It was under the belt line, but it wasn't really that low. I mean, it's one of those things, like fighters are allowed these things whenever they're the showcase. And we saw Mayweather get by his whole career throwing with his elbows, doing where using Kenny Bayless where people weren't allowed to fight on the inside with him. I mean, fighters have these things sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I think it was just a tune-up. I think he needs to be more active. Like he's 36 and he's only fighting once a year. I think that's what really hurt him. And so it was just one of those meh kind of nights where I was kind of getting bored watching Jared Anderson. We knew what was going to happen there. I mean, it was good that he's getting him back in the ring so quick, get that confidence booster. So it was just one of those filler nights. You know what I mean? But I was trying to get a hold of you on Open Lines Friday, BDA.
Well, I wasn't there on Open Lines Friday, but what prevented you from jumping into the panel?
No, I was in the panel, but I asked Jimmy this, but I wanted to ask you because we have all I know that you hate that dog saying. I mean, but there's a lot of little sayings that drive us crazy, and one thing that I hope we get past is the grandson of Ali. Since he got upset, thank God. Hopefully, I love Top Rank, but God, they got to stop with that kid. But the one thing that drives me crazy with Showtime is, I want to get your opinion on this, is they keep touting, and they say it over and over and over, the first in the four belt era, like it's a good thing. That thing, it just muddies the waters and make casual saying, why is there 4 titles within titles? And I don't know why they keep throwing it away like it's a good thing. I mean, it's 12% of the fighters' pay. You know what I mean? Like, it drives me crazy. They say that so much. And I didn't know if it was one of those things that drives you up the wall, too. So I know we all get hooked on some of these sayings.
Well, okay. Do you got anything else to say? Because what I want to do is, if you don't, there's a lot of other phone calls, I'll answer your question and I'll hang up on you, but then I'll answer your question so you can listen on the air. Is that fair? Or you want?
No, go for it. No, that's cool.
All right, shout out to you, man. Thank you for your call. Call back again next time, right, man? Take it easy.
All right.
All right. So to his question, the 4 belt, yeah, that's the thing that I was talking about with people on the Discord. How nowadays, listen carefully when they talk about undisputed. They say undisputed in the 4 belt era. Now, I don't want to go through the whole rigmarole of why I dislike and lack respect, a lot of respect for the alphabet organizations. Long story short, they get to decide the rankings. And they're unfair with the rankings. If a strong promoter, powerful promoter decides, hey, can you move up my guy to the rankings, they will do it. And they've done it since time immemorial, since they've been around. So just based on that, and I can give you one example, I think it was a WBA, they actually moved up a dead guy to the rankings once. That's how bad the rankings are. So just based on that, the legitimacy of these alphabet straps, they have. Huh? I mean, I'm telling you, man, they got no legitimacy from me.
But on the fair side, he had better feet than Danny Garcia.
Oh, come on.
I bet he would have been some stiff. I bet he would have been some stiff competition too. No, he would have given some stiff competition.
BDA, can you tell something to Jimmy?
Hold on, let me answer the question, please.
These insults on Danny Garcia, man.
Let me answer the. Yeah, you're right. He's got to defend the Puerto Rican. But let me say this again. I'll try to make it short. I'm trying to make it quick. So I don't respect the organizations, but the fact is that there used to be one belt. Even back in the day, there used to be who's the real champ? Is it the New York champ back in the 40s and 30s? Because that was considered the bigger market and the more dangerous one. So the people would say, well, the New York championship or the title, whatever. Then it started the WBC, then the WBA. And then when Leonard Hearns fought, they went with, well, let's make it unification. Then the IBF came along. Then the WBO started gaining a little bit of legitimacy. 15, 20 years ago, the WBO was a joke. In fact, the same people nowadays that go, 4 belt undisputed, are the same people that call European fighters Eurobums. Well, guess what? Back in the 90s, anybody that had a WBO belt was considered a Eurobum. So now all of a sudden people switch it up and, the WBO belt. People keep going on and on about, this guy was undisputed. Teofimo Lopez wasn't undisputed when he beat Taylor. Therefore, that's a lesser accomplishment than having all the 4 belts. I got newsflash for people. Rolly Romero has a fucking belt. He sucks. He was getting outboxed by a 41-year-old fighter who came out of the jungle for that fight. So that lets you know all you need to know about the belt. So long story short, to what the caller said, yes, that it drives me nuts when people keep giving legitimacy to these belts and the whole undisputed thing. And let me tell you something. One day, call me crazy, but if you would have told people 20 years ago that the WBO was one day going to be considered legitimate, people were going to told you crazy. Well, I'm making a prediction here. 15 years from now, don't be surprised if the IBO somehow starts gaining more legitimacy because of their computer rankings. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have 5 belts to be undisputed. It's nuts. But sorry for the diatribe. I just had to get in there with that one to answer his question. Anybody?
And also, PDA, nowadays you could have it where one guy does all the work, then all of a sudden you have one bad night and you lose it to somebody like Cambosos, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, So people keep saying, well, undisputed. So if you beat one guy and you grab all the belts, is that somehow better now than the guy who beat all those contenders, even if those contenders were less than they made them out to be? You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
remember I was watching it.
I think we got a delay, but go ahead, Recognize. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, BDA. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
I was looking at the Discord chat, right? And I don't know who it was, right? And even if I did, I wouldn't say their name. But they were going at it. This was around the Devin Haney and Lomachenko fight. And they're like, oh, I don't think it's fair that this person was going in on Loma. They're like, I don't think it's fair that Loma gets a shot at all the titles in one fight. I'm like, that's exactly what Devin Haney did, stupid. Like, while you arguing it, it's like, you're not understanding how Devin Haney got all his belts, right? He did it in one fight. And also you're forgetting that Lomachenko, prior to losing to Teofimo Lopez, he got all three of those belts. Some of those belts, I think one of the belts were vacant, I believe. But two of them,
I mean,
two of
it
those
depends
belts
on the
that he had.
It depends on the context.
Yeah,
it depends on the context, Recognize. Because, for example, if you beat 3 subpar contenders, then or 4 rather, because now it's 4. If you beat 4 subpar contenders, you become undisputed. You can criticize the guy for being overrated.
Fair enough.
If you beat one guy,
you could do that.
Right, but if you beat one guy who had all the belts, that also depends on the context. How good was that guy? Because if he's the man, right, he's the man, then I don't care if the other guy got all the belts off one win. If it's a very good win, then that guy is very good. You see where I'm going? So it depends on the context. It's context dependent.
100% agree. That's why, in my opinion, if you had some type of integrity, you would know who's the lineal champion in almost every weight division. And the heavyweight, I'm going to give you an example. To me, the lineal champion is Usyk. It's just Usyk, bro. Go down the line. I don't care what Fury says. Fury retired. He retired. Whether it was for 2 years or 3, he relinquished all his belts. He didn't fight his mandatory rematch against Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko goes and fights AJ, and AJ beats him.
Now, I got to go back to the phone lines here because people are getting restless in the chat. Some people are screaming at me to pick up the phone. So we'll get back to that if we got time with the Undisputed, because we also have to cover the ESPN card. Let's go to 470. 470 in the air. 470. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, man. What's up?
So there's a lot of misinformation going out, so I decided to go read the WBA rules off their website regarding low blows. So even on this call, I think you guys are confusing the belt, not all you guys, but you're confusing the belt line with the established waistline, right? So according to the WBA, the waistline is defined as the imaginary horizontal line through the navel to the top of the hips. This is regardless of where the boxer places his trunks and or protector cup. The referee should establish the waistline at the center ring in his final instructions. So exactly. I don't know if that happened in the final instructions in the ring, but if a boxer chooses to cover his navel with his belt line with the trunks, then it's up to the referee in the rules meeting or right before the fight to establish where the waistline is going to be for the fight. Punches under the waistline are what are considered low blows. So the Dubois team is saying they have this on video, and this is what they're going to do in their appeal, that they agreed that the waistline would be on the hips, and they said they established that and they agreed to that prior to the fight because they knew Usyk was going to wear his trunks and cover his navel. If you cover your navel, traditionally what I've seen in watching boxing most of my whole life, belt line shots are legal. You can watch body punch highlight reels of Miguel Cotto, Hatton, Spence, Canelo, various boxers who've all landed shots on the belt. I've never heard of this before in my life, where you're going to consider a belt line shot a low blow, especially when the belt line is intentionally covering the navel, right? The other thing that you guys talked about was, I'm going to read here. It is advisable for the referee to discreetly encourage the hurt boxer to resume fighting as soon as possible. A full 5-minute stop in the action will stymie the natural flow of the bout and quite possibly affect its natural outcome. But the boxer is entitled to a full 5-minute recovery if he desires it. So, the referee is supposed to discreetly encourage the boxer to continue, not to encourage him to stay down and rest. So you guys did touch on that was a little bit of bias there, but those were just some of the things that I wanted to bring up.
Wait.
Now,
just reread the thing about the time. Reread the thing about the time. What did it say about the time of rest time for the low blow?
Okay. It is advisable for the referee to discreetly encourage the hurt boxer to resume fighting as soon as possible. A full 5-minute stop in the action will stymie the natural flow of the bout and quite possibly affect its natural outcome. However, one should keep in mind that the boxer is entitled to the full 5-minute recovery if he desires it.
Exactly. So now that's the thing, though. But that's the key, though. That's the key, though.
But the referee is supposed to encourage him to continue as soon as possible.
That's the thing. If it says
it
says it's advisable, right?
If you want 5 minutes, you can get 5 minutes.
But that's the thing. It says it's advisable. So now that I'm thinking about it, was the referee then because if it says it's not saying he's exempt from encouraging the fighter to take the 5 minutes. He says it's advisable. So maybe he wasn't in that much in the wrong by telling Usyk to take the 5 minutes. I don't know. What do you guys? Caller, what do you think? Do you think it was a bad call for the referee to insist that he take
if we interpret the rules the way some of you guys want them interpreted now, right? Every time a boxer, most of these boxers today are pulling up. It's not just Usyk. If you pull up your boxer trunks to where your navel is covered by the trunk, by the belt line, your basic and especially the fact that Usyk is already a smaller guy in the heavyweight division, he's minimizing the space that a guy has to hit him. He's basically, and then if anything even goes toward that area, he looks at the ref, in order for it to get called a low blow. So, are we going to stop fights now every time a guy's hit on the belt line? Are we going to stop fights and the guy gets to go sit on the ground for 5 minutes?
I want to ask the caller a question.
Hold on, please, fellas. Hold on. Caller, I agree with you about that, but my question was in regard, because I wanted to stick a little bit to the whole thing about the time. So do you think the referee, based on the rule that you read, and by the way, that's the WBA's rule, based on what you heard from the WBA about the rule, do you think the referee was in the wrong for telling him to encourage him to take the full 5 minutes?
He was in the wrong, correct. He's supposed to encourage him to start the fight as soon as possible, because that encourages the fight to proceed and to continue. If referees start encouraging boxers to take the full 5 minutes, the fight will stop every time a guy is hit on the belt line. That's why the rule is written in that way. They're encouraging, they're advising the referees we need to get this fight moving. We can't put a pause on the action every time a guy is hit on the belt line or even hit low.
Well, that's the thing that he wasn't.
Just one last thing. I actually went back and watched what was that fight? Bo and Galata. Those were vicious, intentional low blows. Bo did not take anywhere close to 3 minutes like Usyk did yesterday. Or Trinidad Fernando Vargas. Vargas was banged out low blow intentionally. He didn't take anywhere close to 3 minutes. So for the referee to encourage this guy to stay on the ground and rest?
How do you know he encouraged it? I'm not saying he didn't, but how do you know? What did he do?
Because he kept telling him. You could hear him say it.
Okay. So then
you get another minute. Yeah,
well, that's why I want to stick to the whole.
Giving him the timeline. He's saying, look, you're already taking this much. If you want to take more, you could take more. But in your rule, which applies to the WBA, unified rules might be different. They're kind of similar, but unified rules might be slightly different than an independent sanctioning body. Now, it clearly says from what you said, the fighter is still allowed to take 5 minutes. So you see, it's kind of like it's a little dangling line between a ref. I can encourage you to speed up the process, recover, and let's make this fight happen because we don't want to. Obviously, you do not want to take away the momentum from the other fighter, right?
Well, okay,
So-
but hold on. There's two things we got to point out here. Number one, again, that's why I brought up the whole thing about is this advisable? So it's a stretchy, flexible thing there for the referee. Now, is he supposed to encourage the fight to resume as soon as possible? Yes, that's why we mentioned it in the beginning of the podcast about how it was weird that he was encouraging him to take the 5 minutes. But then again, if the rule says that he's advised to also let the guy take the 5 minutes, all right, fine. That's the other thing, though. You mentioned that Trinidad and all those other examples of guys that didn't take 5 minutes. Well, Usyk didn't want to take the 5 minutes. That's why we're talking about the referee too, about how he was encouraging. So Usyk did not want to take the full 5 minutes to recover from that low blow. Let's just point that out right now.
At the 3 minute and 10-second mark is when he said, "I'm ready." He said, "I'm fine. Let's go." But I just want to add too, a belt line is irrelevant where the guy's trunks. It really is irrelevant where he puts them, because if a guy he's a real slender guy and he has to wear them up high to keep him up over his jock. Sometimes they go way up above the navel. That's why it's the navel down. So the ref is supposed to establish that, and he probably did in the locker room. This is the navel here, but you got to tell him again out in the ring. But it doesn't matter. Like you don't judge a punch by the belt line of the shorts. It's about where it lands on the body in reference to the belly button, the navel.
Well, I guess at the end of the day, we need
that's why I told PDA on the chat. I said, I would really be interested to see where the referee said was okay, meaning it's not a low blow. And if he established it at the belt line, that's a low blow. That's considered a low blow. Remember, for you to be considered a borderline low, meaning a borderline shot that counts, it has to hit the border and above. A borderline that doesn't count is borderline and underneath. Does that make sense? I'm talking to the caller.
Again, there's a difference between the belt line, and the established waistline.
No, I'm asking a question. Let me ask you.
If the belt line, is covering the navel, right? If the belt line is covering the navel, we can no longer use the navel. We can no longer use the navel as a waistline. So as you just said, it's up. Yeah.
Well, but that's what I'm saying.
It's up to the referee to determine,
right? Once
in the rules meeting or before
then you're wearing pants, right? Hold on, caller. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a delay.
Point to you.
Go ahead, Recognize. You go ahead first, and then we'll let the caller respond. But I mean, I don't know if you can ask him a question.
Let's pretend you have trunks on, and wherever your belt line is, I agree. That's the border. That's the cutoff point. In other words, if I hit you in your belt line, it's border. So if I hit skin, and I hit your belt line, that's a legal shot, because it's on the border and above. Now, if I hit your belt line and underneath your belt line, that's a low blow. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And if the belt line is covering the navel,
where the referee called it at, you know what I'm saying?
From watching boxing, I mean, you guys can even answer this question. Have you ever seen a fight stopped when a guy hit that's why a lot of boxers were on Twitter yesterday talking about that wasn't a low blow, because it happens all the time. A lot of guys get hit on the belt line. Are we going to say that those are all low blows now?
When a guy reacts
is that where we're headed?
You're supposed to stop the fight if you think
that's
okay. I'll just
Well, that's what it's all inducive. Does the guy go down like a ton of bricks? I mean, guys get hit there all the time, and even lower. But if they don't respond to it, you're not going to stop the fight and say, "Hey, you hit you low, take a break." It all depends on how the fighter or the person reacts to the illegal low blow.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think we would interpret the rules based on how the guy reacts. It's either we accept it or we don't. And for some of these people in the chat saying that, look, in my opinion, Alexander Usyk is the most skilled fighter in the world. These guys don't have a prayer against him in a straight up. And you guys said something interesting with Tim Bradley's comment about Eastern European fighters can't take it to the body. In my opinion, the Eastern European fighters are superior when it comes to tactics, skill, head movement, slipping, countering. They're better than the American and the Mexican fighters. Where the Mexican and American fighters have the advantage, though, is other types of, body punching. So Dubois he knew it going into the fight. You have zero chance in a straight up boxing match with Usyk. So that's why he feels, and the team feels, and his supporters feel like they were robbed, is because that was his opportunity to win. And a guy like Usyk, who weighed in 199 pounds just 4 or 5 years ago at cruiserweight, I was even skeptical about his ability to maintain, in a fight with a skilled heavyweight, throwing his hands, throwing body shots. So that was Dubois' opportunity and his only chance to win the fight. That's why they feel the way they feel. So if you're going to take away their ability to throw body punching, you're severely, hampering his ability to attempt to win the fight. And so that's all I'm saying.
Well, listen,
so
I'm a body punching.
Yeah.
I'm a body punching guy. If you've listened to the show before, you'll know that I put a lot of emphasis on body punching. I'm a fan of body punching. If you just go down to the body, chances are I'm going to be a fan of yours. And you're right. If you take, I've seen other fights where the guy gets, he's hitting the guy on the bed line and the ref keeps warning the body puncher. And so he's making him hesitant now to go down to the body. That being said, I'm looking at the video here again of the body punching or of that blow in question, and he is hitting him low. He's even, again, that's the thing though. If this would have, again, we're getting into speculation here, but if Dubois would have just turned the glove up, he would have hit right on the bed line. As it was, he kept the glove vertical. So he's hitting part of the legal part, and he's hitting the waistline as well. Whatever you want to place the trunks, he's still hitting part of that waistline there. So I think that's what was up. That was up to the referee's discretion. He made that call. He was partially correct. I'm usually critical referees, but in this instance, I got to admit that it's an iffy one. Like if he would have been in another angle, if he would have been somewhere else, he might have not seen it, and he would have called it a clean body shot, not seeing where the shot landed. So it was a close call from the referee. Ultimately, I think he was right. Most people are going with that as well. And look, if people want to get any doubt out of there, I think they should do a rematch. Why not? See if Dubois can keep going to the body this time. Because he did have time to.
And I'll just end with this. They claim, the Dubois team claims that they recorded the rules meeting where the waistline was established because they knew Usyk was going to wear his trunks high, and they're going to put that in their appeal to the WBA. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if it'll just stay the same. It'll be a no contest, or they do a rematch. But
I can't lie.
And what's funny, Dubois wore his pants higher. Sorry.
I found that suspicious that they would record the referee's instructions, as almost as if we were planning to go there, to that. You see, the way you make sure you don't get called for a low blow, you aim at skin. Now, again, I agree. There's some guys that they wear their trunks too high. You're like, yo, what do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I supposed to do at this point? There's no skin. But from what I can see, what Usyk is wearing, Jimmy, where he's wearing his trunks, it doesn't seem that high. It seems like maybe
no, it isn't.
Right on the navel.
No, they're not. That's just it. They're not high. You can actually see the top of his navel. Dubois is about 4 inches above his navel. That's what's funny. He's the one who's wearing high shorts.
You could not see the top. You could not see his navel
he's got the small shorts on.
You could not see his navel during the fight.
If you ask BDA,
I can't hear him.
You could not see his navel during the fight.
The first thing I said,
I'm looking at it right now, guy. I'm watching a fight right now. I can see the top of his navel. The indentation is going in. His pants aren't that high. They're right on his hips.
Can you guys hear me?
Well, hold on, recognize, hold on, because I think there's a delay on your phone. As to the question of whether you can see the navel or not. Okay, as to the question of whether you can see the navel or not, again, this is the screen cap I'm showing here is right as they're about to meet in the center of the ring for the touching of the gloves. You can sort of see the navel a little bit. It's covered. Again, to the caller on Jimmy's point, though, during a fight, it fucking goes up and it goes down, the trunks. That's why sometimes you'll see fighters adjusting, blah, blah. So if you take any one picture, you might find one where it's right on the navel. Other ones, you will see the navel. So again, for me, I would have to look at the whole fight and determine how low was it during, in most instances of the fight. Again, it's going to require some watching, but caller, we do have to move on. Thank you for your call. And anything else you want to say before we move on?
Good call.
No, I'm good, guys. Good show. Right. Keep it up.
Thank you. Call back next time. All right. Yeah, sorry. We spent a lot of time on that call. All right, we spent a long time on that call.
Maybe
but
he
before
got a
we-
little
hold
tunnel
on.
vision with the little symbol there, no? With the occult symbol. He said, fuck, I'm gonna go for that.
Yeah, that satanic symbol
Bullseye.
might have been playing some. Hold on, one at a time,
All right,
fellas.
Mr.
Fellas,
BD,
keep in mind, fellas, keep in mind there's a delay here between us, so and everybody's jumping in. So, okay, Jimmy, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think I misunderstood what he was saying. I was having a hard time hearing sometimes what he was saying, but it sounded to me like their team, Dubois team, is planning on filing, whatever, because they're saying they agreed that it would be from the hips, like your hip bone. You know what your hip bone is? Comes out in the front. Like that's where they're saying the established line was. Now they can't arbitrarily reestablish rules. It's the navel. That's what he would have told them in the dressing room. And he would have mentioned, I believe I just rewatched, I think he goes over and tells the fighters individually, walks up to him, and as the ref walks up to Dubois, he's looking down at his trunks and he points to it. But absolutely, Dubois is literally, inches above his navel. So it's just funny if they were, complaining going into the fight about Usyk's pants. Because his are lower than
look. Let me reiterate
Dubois.
what the caller said. The caller was reading from the WBA's rules. And it said it doesn't matter where the fighter places his trunks, the waistline is the established part. Now, then again, that muddies the waters. The referee muddies the waters when he's backstage and he tells fighters, punches here are good, punches here are low. That being said, looking at the evidence, let me replay it one more time. Part of the glove is touching the legal area. Part of it is touching the waist right there. So that was up to the referee.
I would
right
have
there.
a hard time, BDA. I would have a hard time as a referee to take a guy who got hit with that shot and count them out. I would have a hard time. It would just be like, damn, I'm kind of like just giving the guy who threw that shot an advantage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But then again, referees can be right. Look, I'm looking at the evidence. It was half legal, half illegal. That's where the referee went. He said it doesn't matter if 1/4 of it was illegal or half of it or the whole point. He said it was illegal because some of it did land on the illegal part. So that's where he's going with.
Yeah.
Again, did Usyk play it up a little bit? I don't know. Maybe he did. I'm speculating because I didn't take the punch.
Maybe he
but
did.
It's possible. It's possible that he played it up.
I like this. BDA, I don't know about you, but I kind of like that. Look, we talk about like the politics of boxing. I like that these foreign guys who are fighting in the West, these Eastern fighters are fighting in the West, that they're getting, because that's what it's going to take. They don't want you guys to win. Like, they would prefer you guys to like just be the guy who, does all the work and you get knocked off. And maybe a guy like Tyson Fury has an easier path to undisputed against a guy like Daniel Dubois. And maybe we could revisit you if you could work your way back up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
I can see. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that.
Be vocal. Yeah, if I'm in your backyard, right? I'm gonna follow the rules. But I'm also gonna be like, yo, your man's breaking the rules, man. Like, what's up? Like, I'm not breaking the rules. Have him follow the fucking. Have him follow the rules. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, well, we're gonna talk about that when we get to because something similar to that did happen in the ESPN card. We're gonna talk about that. We got to go back to the phone here because we did spend a lot of time with the previous caller, and other people are waiting. Let's go to 559. 559, you're in the air. 559. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, BDA? How you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Hope you're doing fantastic as well. What's on your mind, man?
I just had to ask you a question. Okay, so when two boxers are fighting, right? And one of the boxers, he ducks and turns like his body all the way around and he gets hit in back of the head. Is it his fault or the one that punched him?
When the fighter turns away, no, that's the guy who turned away. That's his fault.
It's a referee.
That's his fault, right? Correct?
I mean, if I'm
okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, man.
Okay, so if it's the fighter, okay, the one that turned around, it's his fault, right?
Right.
Okay, so why isn't it Alexander's fault? Because he jumped. He jumped when he got punched in the low, like kind of low. That's his fault.
Well, let's replay it. See if
up in the air.
Let's replay the video. Let's replay the video. See if he jumped. Oh shit! Hold on.
Yeah, replaying. You can see him jump. You can literally see him jump.
Well, what's happening is he's going to jump back, Mr. BDA, and his feet slip. So he kind of like he's going to like hop back.
He's still jumping.
His feet are slipping on the ring.
I don't know. Are these people seeing something that I'm not seeing? First of all, he hit him clearly low, and I don't see him jumping. Maybe I don't know. I don't.
I see the fight.
The back of the head. The back of the head thing is a referee interpretation. Sometimes.
But I seen the fight. He literally jumped, bro. I seen the
Sometimes
fight.
it's the guy throwing the punches. That's how it's a referee interpretation.
I mean, I see him leaping back, but I don't see him leaping up into the air.
Right.
He's straightening out his body.
So how does he leap? Okay, how does someone leap back if they're not leaping into the air? You have to leap. You have to jump. You have to jump up to leap.
But now you're getting into a gray
That
area.
makes no sense. You can't leap.
No, you don't have to jump up.
You can't leap back.
With your feet. You can
yeah, you can leap back without necessarily.
Feet.
Exactly, like Recognize is saying.
You can't leap back without jumping off the ground.
Yeah, but you're not jumping up. You're jumping back. You're not leaving. You're not. Your feet are leaving the ground.
Yeah, exactly. You're jumping though. But jumping has to do with jumping up.
You guys are just reaching.
Yeah, you're kind of reaching because there's a big difference between turning back and leaping back. When you were giving your example of turning back about that.
Okay, so what's?
But hold on, caller.
So what's the difference between leaping and jumping?
Hold on, caller. You're talking about turning. You said if the guy turns away, there's a big difference turning away and leaping back. Do you understand that?
I understand that.
Okay.
Well, what's the difference between leaping and jumping?
Well, leaping up and leaping back, there's a difference, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, doesn't leaping have to do with elevation? Don't you have to elevate to leap?
Yeah, but now you got to determine how much he's leaping up into the air. And I don't. Again, we're speculating. I need a video. Excuse me. I need a video to showing his feet.
I seen the fight. I'm telling you, I seen the fight, brother. I seen the fight, brother.
I know you saw. Hold on, caller. I know you saw the fight. We all saw the fight. That's what we're talking about. Do we have an angle where we see his feet leaving the air? Because at this point, we're just speculating about whether he leapt back, leapt up, leapt forward.
But his feet leave the air, right? I mean, his feet leave the ground.
Hold on, Jimmy. I'm asking the caller.
He does jump up, like he goes to push back, but he's not jumping with his feet up off the ground.
I'm asking about the feet. That's what I'm saying. We all saw the fight. I know. Do we have footage of his feet leaving the air? Because we're just speculating at this point. Did he leap back? Did he leap forward? Did he leap up? Caller, is there footage of his feet leaving the air?
The whole fight. I seen it. In the fight, he leaped.
Caller, can you answer my question? Can you answer my question? Is there footage of his feet leaving the air in that instance?
If you watch the fight, it's right there. It's literally right there.
All right. Well, I'll rewatch it because the angle I'm seeing here from the replay, from the front angle, and I'm playing it here on the screen. I can't see his feet.
If there's no, if there's no evidence, just say it, bro. Don't keep, he's asking you a direct question. Just give him an answer, man.
Yeah, well, he gave the answer. Now he's saying that if you watch it live, you can see him jumping.
In his opinion, he's seeing him jump up.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Why are you getting angry at me? I'm not yelling at you. I'm not telling you anything.
We're not getting angry, Cole. We're not getting angry. What I'm saying is I need to see footage of his.
Oh, he's telling me to answer him.
Hold on. Well, listen.
Now, you look at Lou DeVal versus Roy Jones.
Go ahead.
Look at Lou DeVal versus Roy Jones. That's exactly what DeVal was doing.
You got to let me finish here. You said if you watch the fight, you can see his feet leaping up in the air. I'm going to have to rewatch that fight, not the replay that I'm showing, but the actual fight to see if that happened. I can't do it right now because I'm doing a show, but I'll take your word for it, caller. But if his feet did leap in the air, then you have to take into consideration, well, how much? Was he leaping back? How much was he leaping up into the air to leap back? That type of stuff. So we're getting into Zapruder film territory here now. Anything else you want to say, caller, before we move on?
No, but I just know that I predicted that Daniel was going to knock him out. I told you that yesterday. You were like, well, you're crazy. But look what happened.
Well, hold on. When did I tell you?
Daniel
did
quit. Daniel did quit.
Caller. When did I tell you?
Daniel did quit.
Caller, I don't remember. Caller, when did you tell me that he was going to knock him out with a body shot? And when did I call you crazy?
No. When I told you on the message, I was like, your name's Bucho, right? Or somebody named Bucho. Who's Bucho?
Yeah, Bucho's. He was hosting yesterday.
I'm the problem. I'm not told you.
I wasn't
I was the
there.
one that
Cole.
wanted to bet you.
Okay, well, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. That was Bucho was hosting this BDA.
Oh, Bucho? Yeah, but
Cole, you still there?
yeah, I'm still here.
All right. So yeah, that was Bucho. I don't know what
Yeah,
he
well,
told you. I didn't listen to the show there.
All right, well, Daniel did quit, but Usyk quit before him, though.
I mean, I don't know about
Daniel
that.
quit
Again,
in the 8th, 9th, but Alexander quit in the 5th or 4th.
All right. Well, we'll have
I mean,
to
it is
see
what
if
it is,
he-
man.
We'll have to see if he jumped in the air like you said. If he didn't, then you were wrong. All right.
For
Well,
sure.
listen, thank you for your call and call back next
For
time.
sure.
All right? Take it easy out there.
All right, BDA. Have a good one. Take it easy. All right.
You too, man. You can see this is really getting people all worked up. Again, I'd have to see the replay, all the replays, because I've only seen the one where it's two sides. I haven't rewatched to see if he leapt in the air. I'm gonna have to do that afterwards. Or if somebody can do it, I don't have to do it. Somebody can do it for us while we're watching the fight.
BDA, you're naturally
I'm
going to
watching
have
right now.
some motion. You're going to have some motion in between the two fighters, so you're going to be coming off the ground a little bit. And obviously, if he anticipated the punch, he pulled back the torso a little bit, but that's just normal.
Well, that's what I'm saying to the caller. There's a difference between turning
He didn't
away
jump
from,
like Michael Jordan either.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's a difference between leaping back, which you're gonna do in a fight, and turning away your head away from the guy and getting hit with a rabbit shot. I mean, there's a big difference between that. And again, we don't even know if he actually leapt because we haven't seen the feet. That's why I'm asking people out there if they're still seeing the fight. Please let us know if his feet didn't indeed leave the air. We got to go to another phone call here because we're running out of time here, and a lot of people are calling in. Let's go to. Hold on a second. What the fuck? Okay, 914. You're on the air. 914. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, man? It's Lion Legal. I called last week, actually.
What's up?
Essentially, what I saw in that boxing match was utterly disgusting. It was utterly disgusting because people who have seen Daniel Dubois know that this guy may never get that kind of chance again. To get a title shot is not easy. Frank, what's his name, the promoter? Frank Warren is not a good promoter. What he constantly does is that he takes his fighters. Anthony Yard, he did the same thing to Anthony Yard when he faced Kovalev, and he took him to enemy territory, and you expect the judges there to be fair. You expect the referee to be fair in a place that you're not from, where the crowd is against you, and he constantly does this. Eddie Hearn doesn't do it. Al Heyman doesn't do it, but Frank constantly does this. And to those saying that, oh, it was a low blow, etc., that was not a low blow. Usyk constantly pretends that anytime he's hit around the body, especially around the navel section, he pretends like it's a low blow and then tries to steal time by getting the referee to intervene. In fact, after that incident in the fifth round, he constantly tried to beg the referee to intervene. And then there was a point that the ref said, no, that's a fair shot to the body. So it's terrible what occurred. And I think that Dubois should absolutely appeal. I hope that they overturn it to a no contest. But even if they do, I don't think people understand that every time a boxer gets inside the ring, they leave a little bit of themselves there. They are diminished, especially if they lose. They are diminished psychologically. They've had to endure head trauma. They've had to go through a lot. So, and to have a referee stop the fight and counsel the other fighter to not stand up and start the fight again, and telling Usyk, no, don't worry, take your time, you don't have to fight now. Even when Usyk told the referee, I can go, I can fight, and I'd like to restart the fight. It was incredible. Like the referee told him, no, don't do that, take as much time as you need. I thought it was disgusting. And in fact, I feel the referee should not be able to officiate a match again. I think that should be his last boxing match, period.
Well, I don't blame you, caller, because that was weird. Again, we had the other caller call in with the WBA rules, and it's kind of flexible because at the beginning of the rule it says it is advised that the referee can encourage, or I forget exactly what the wording was, that he can indeed encourage the guy to take the full 5 minutes. But then he went on to say that it is encouraged that the referee try to get the fight started as soon as possible. So you are correct, man. That whole thing with the referee, that was sketchy, that was iffy. I didn't like it. It is true that Usyk has complained in the past about body shots. On the other hand, for the people that are saying that he can't take body shots, he took him from Anthony Joshua. He complained, but he didn't go down. So this whole thing about him being unable to take body shots, we would have been seeing him getting dropped by body shots against Joshua in those 24 rounds. As to the actual blow itself, I mean, I don't know. Again, the other caller was saying, well, he jumped up. Well, again, that's much different than turning away from a shot and getting hit with a rabbit punch, because fighters, sometimes they get on their toes too. If in the moment where the guy's up in the air from bouncing on his toes, he gets hit with a super low blow. Is that a legal shot? I don't know, man. This whole thing is getting out of hand. The image
Mr.
does
BDA?
show.
Tell you what I saw.
I just want.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what I saw. I don't think he jumped
bounced
up.
out.
Okay. Hold on. Let the caller finish, and then I'll go to you, Jimmy. Sorry, man.
I didn't
go ahead,
know.
caller.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. So I don't think that he jumped up, but I saw that the shot actually rose up a little bit prior to the shot. Now, I don't know if that was something to do with his leg or his positioning, etc., but I think he moved slightly, and the shot rose up a little bit, maybe a half an inch or an inch, and then he got hit. But even apart from that, it's clear that his shots were not below the label. That, who disagrees with that? Who disagrees with that? So if you agree on that, then you have to agree that the shot was actually legal.
Right, but you're still ballpark. If you look at the actual footage, you're ballparking the anatomy of the fighter. It was still a low blow. It was still below the navel, no matter where the shorts were. So that's why I can't complain too much about this, man. And by the way, just real quick, shout out to Jimmy. I think that's where he wanted to jump in and say, because the previous caller was adamant that Usyk did jump. That's why I was trying to get him to say, when did he jump? This is a clear angle here from the back of Usyk's feet. Hey, what the fuck? Hold on. Give me 2 seconds here. I got to put the video up on the screen here. All right, so this is video. I don't even know if we can play this. All right. Come on. Why is it playing so fast? Hold on. You can see he wasn't jumping up in the air. That's why I wanted clarification, because at that point we were all we were doing with the caller was speculating. Maybe he left back, maybe he leapt up. All of that is irrelevant because he didn't leap at all.
At all.
So yeah, so shout out to you, Jimmy, for finding that angle, man. Real hot stuff right there, man. Hot, sexy stuff. I don't know why that adjective.
Jimmy's been on it, man. That other shot of the close up of the shot that we're arguing about was like, maybe that angle. I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, that's a low blow.
All right, now hold on, caller. Anything else you want to say before we move on? Because we're running out of time here.
No. The only thing I'll say, and the last thing is that they have taken an opportunity away from a guy that may never have that same opportunity again. And this is a person who has confidence issues, because you can see that in the Joe Joyce fight, etc. So the fact that they've stolen something, in my view, away from him when it was a fair shot, are you going to protect Usyk every single time? Let the guy fight. This is disgusting, and something should be done about it. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Call back next time. And I will agree about the Frank Warren thing. Yeah, he used to be good in the 90s and 2000s.
Well, he got
had the monopoly.
Shot in the head, right? Like, he got shot in the head as an older man too.
He got shot in the head and didn't die. Maybe he's an extraterrestrial, like that pastor who got shot in the head by a guy who claimed he was an alien.
How old was he? How old was he when somebody shot him in the head? Like,
I don't know, man.
10 years ago.
But he used to have the monopoly on.
He used to have. I mean, listen, it can happen to anybody. You know, you can have beef at any point in your life.
He used to have the monopoly on the British
whether it was a low
market,
shot
and
or
now
not,
then went
he
away.
was practicing that in the gym. And dude, if Usyk gets caught a little higher, I still think he goes down, man. That was a nice shot.
You know something, Gonzalo? That's a really good point, because the shot was actually, I was like, if he would have just picked it up a little bit more, like more of like he kind of had like a windmill hook coming from the bottom. Had he just hooked it a little bit more, where his elbow's a little bit level towards his chest, probably hits him right in the fucking body, and we don't know how he reacts. Maybe he goes down, you know. But the shot itself, look, in boxing, when you fighting at this higher level, where these guys they got money invested in them to be in the gym longer than the average guy, right? Sometimes the level of competition, who's better is by inches. So you're gonna see a missed opportunity where maybe had that punch landed right on the button, and who knows, maybe he has the same reaction and he goes down and he can't get back up. It's not that he's a better fighter than fucking Usyk. It's just that he landed a perfect shot. So
hey, by the way, fellas,
again,
I gotta read a super chat. I gotta read a super chat and then I'll be right back because I gotta go to the latrine. But shout out to Vladdy V for his contribution to super chat. He says, reason the ref would call it low blow in real time is because of Usyk's reaction and the way Usyk's shorts moved up due to the uppercut. Ref's discretion is the final word of the day. Great show, BDA. All right, that's his opinion right there. Shout out to Vladdy V. Guys, you take over. I'll be right back, and then we gotta take phone calls again.
I just want to finish that point real quick, Jim.
Yes, finish what you're saying, bro.
Okay, so to boxing is a sport like every other sport. If you go to team sports like baseball, football, these guys beat each other out by inches on average. Some guys are just so good that they beat guys by a mile. You know, it's rare, but on average, people get beaten on inches. And then the levels of competition. When you start talking about the top 50 fighters of any division, these guys are better each other on average just by a little bit, not by like a whole mile. And I'm talking about it on average. But from the angles that I've seen, man, it's like I wouldn't feel comfortable counting out a guy with that kind of shot. Okay,
it was.
Go ahead.
It was a low blow. No, I was going to say, of course not, because it hit him. The impact, beginning impact, where it impacts the fighter, is below his navel. Again, I don't even give a shit about this fight either way. You know, neither one of these guys are my favorite fucking fighter, but it's just the rules of the rules. If you hit a guy below the navel, and again, the reason why hooks to the body work, direct punches to that side of your body, even uppercuts, aren't going to do that much damage to the body because you don't fold a fucking organ. The reason why you get hurt, a lot of times your liver gets punched against your spine. It comes in on a hook. But if you just get a direct shot to your bladder, a flush shot on an uppercut, very seldom you're going to see a dude go down and stay down for a 10 count because you can kind of stand up. The reason you can't stand up on a lever shot because you can't feel your legs. You feel like you're crippled. You can't get up. A solar plex one's sometimes brutal because you can't breathe. You just can't bring in any more air. And you're so concentrated on not dying, you're not giving a shit about making 10 count. So my point being is we don't even know if it didn't hurt him because of its low shot, like meaning the nuts. If it didn't pull his cup up and pinch his balls, would he have even gone down? So that's the point. So people saying that this guy was robbed of a knockout, like I think was the last caller's point. How do you know that? How do you know if it wasn't a low blow, he wouldn't even have went down? We don't know that. Can't speculate. But what is not speculation is the impact of that punch hit below the navel. That's irrefutable. So, and again, from there, it's the referee's discretion. I'm just stating the facts, man. Take the emotions out of it. And you know what I mean? This kind of shit happens. This sport is gauged not by machinery. Humans, right? Referees are human. Judges are human. There's egregious shit. I don't think that's egregious either way. Even if I was the other dudes, you know, if I was pulling for him, I wouldn't have thought that was egregious. It was low enough. And on top of that, he kept hitting him low for the rest of the night. He popped him in the ass cheek twice, hit him on the hip bone, which is a hip flexor, which really hurt. I've had hip flexes. And he was doing that. So he was punching low pretty much all night.
Well, listen, I think this is the best thing that could have happened, Jimmy, to Usyk, because now people are paying attention to him. Even the Afro-Anglo channels that usually don't cover his fights, now all of a sudden they're covering his fights. So I guess all publicity is good publicity in their eyes. Let's go. We got to go to another phone call here. Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Okay, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 773. 773, you're on the air. 773, what's on your mind?
About damn time. This is the deal. This is what happened. You're not used to these Eastern Europeans getting the benefit of the doubt.
Hmm.
So when they finally do, they don't know how to act. These people don't know how to act. They see all these Brits whining and crying. Oh my, here they again. I listen to every broadcast, all the stations. They got their whole conglomerate of TV hosts and the presenters and the promotion. They got the whole shebang pushing this clean shot. He was robbed narrative because they're used to getting their way. They're used to getting their way, and they're not getting their way, so they're throwing a little bitch fit, and that's the deal. How many times have we seen these dudes get robbed? Would it be Kovalev, Triple G, Lomachenko? The list goes on and on of these dudes getting chewed over in multiple ways, and now all of a sudden they get the benefit of the doubt, and these people don't know how to act. It's funny.
Right,
I love it. We need to see more of this. Even the playing field. Let these dudes catch a break every once in a while. I mean, did not know it's referee discretion. I mean, remember when Kovalev got hit directly to the balls and everyone was saying, "Oh my gosh, this and that." The ref should have did something. But now when it's something like that, oh no, the ref. It's the ref's fault. It's referee discretion. Okay, that's their job. They got to make a call, split second. Whether it's how many times have we said, "Oh, it's a back of the head shot." They're just letting them back of the head. Oh, they're letting them clinch too much. Referee, do your job. The ref did his job. He saw it. He thought he saw a low blow. It was borderline. I thought it was low. I don't know how to say. It's clearly legal shot. I mean, it's obviously not clear. It's up for interpretation. It's right on the bell line there. I don't know. It looked like it lands low and it goes up. Looks like it hits the cup and then it bounces up. That's what it looks like to me. So it's not. It's obviously a close call. It's not a clear-cut call. So this, he's going to file appeal. It's never going to go through unless Jewish
He's going to lose.
Jewish
organization sides with Dubois.
The K-Dog's bringing in all K-Dog is bringing in all the hot talking points. All right, K-Dog, we got your point. You want to see more of this go on. And shout out to you, man. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
Gotta admit though, they're throwing a fit. Listen to Carl Frampton and Tony Bellows and the fucking biggest dork cornball of them all, Sonny Edwards.
Oh,
listen to all of them crying, robbery.
No, Tony Bello actually. Tony Bello was the one saying it was a low blow. Tony Bello is he's the first one to make the charge that it was definitely a low blow. Yes, he said it was a low blow.
All right, well, listen, we got to move on here, Kevin. Thank you for your call. Call back next time, all right? Take it easy out there.
One love.
And
what's that?
Please, Kevin.
Oh, I thought he
said he was going to...
No, I thought he said he was going to say something, but he hung up. Go ahead, Jimmy.
No, I was going to say, if you look, too, the referee isn't pure. He's in his best possible advantage to see that punch. He's directly in the line. Like, we were to draw a straight line from his line sight to his eye, right to where he was shot. He's over in the corner. Like, if you go back and watch that video. So he saw it, and he wasn't too close, so it was directly in his line of vision where he was looking right at those guys. So he saw where that punch landed, and there was no hesitation. He said it was a low blow. He thought it was low. And again, it's ref's discretion. And again, Kevin made an excellent point. I mean, Kovalev robbed, Lomachenko robbed, Triple G robbed. You know what I mean? They come here in the United States, they get fucking bent over. So one time they were in Eastern Europe, and all he did was get the discretion call his way. It wasn't like he got a bad decision. I mean, if that's the way this kid wants to try to win a fight, like, I could have done it. Well, how about hanging in there and fight more? Stop quitting.
There you go. I mean, Jimmy breaking it down, concurring with Kevin's call. And by the way, when you said Kevin hit it right on the money, I thought you were going to say about the Jewish thing, but I'm glad you didn't go there. What else was I going to say? Yeah, we got to go back to the phone lines. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to 916. 916, you're on the air. 916. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you guys doing? This is Joe. Okay,
Joe,
I want
what's up?
everybody go Yeah, can you hear me? I want everybody to go and watch the beginning of the Jared Anderson fight yesterday. And look where the referee said it's illegal, it's legal, and illegal. It's right above the shorts. Watch the Jared. In the beginning, what the referee said. It's clear. It's super clear.
So what's...
Who watched the Jared Anderson fight yesterday?
Okay, so the point is that... What's your point?
It was way below the line. Way below the belt line.
Yeah,
and
but...
you got to remember, these gloves are stiff. The gloves are stiff, and they're not as mushy as people think. And that's a big surface area to hit the ball area. Basically, hit the area where it's illegal.
Look, caller, I agree that the Usyk Dubois thing, that half of it was low. Technically, it was a low blow, but we can't compare the Anderson thing because that's a different fight, different anatomies, different trunk levels. But I get what you're saying though about the Usyk.
I mean, if you watch the Jared Anderson fight at the beginning of the fight, what did the referee say?
I don't know, man.
Anything even above, that's illegal.
All right.
Correct
all right.
or wrong?
No, well, I mean, if that's what he said, that's what he said. I didn't see it, but I'm taking your word for it. What else, caller?
I mean, he was losing every single round. Every single round he was losing, and then I mean he literally quit. He quit from a straight right jab. I mean, what else is there to explain?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there you go. I mean, people want to voice their opinion, man.
Look at his other previous fight with Joe Joyce. He quit in that fight. He lost every single round against Usyk, and then he quit. And then at the end, he said, "I don't even know if I want to box anymore." At the end, he told Usyk. Why would he say that?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point as well. Yeah, that's the other thing. The mentality.
When Usyk came up to him in the fight, none of their team said anything about low blow. None of their team said anything. Daniel Dubois said, "Oh, I'm quitting. I quit boxing." He's saying basically he's quitting, like he's giving up, because he was losing every single round. And then at the end of the fight, he was telling Usyk like, "I don't want to box anymore. I quit."
Yeah, Usyk
but Daniel Dubois didn't say anything directly to Usyk. He didn't say one word about it being a low blow.
Well, I mean, yeah, the poor guy got beaten in there. Man, he was getting shellacked, so I mean, it's understandable he was shell shocked. But you're right, man. It's a tough sport, man.
But what I recommend everybody to watch, Alex Krasuk, the manager, Alex Krasuk of Usyk, he posted on his Instagram, on his story, the Jared Anderson fight yesterday against that Ukrainian guy. And I want everybody to go look what the referee said is illegal and illegal because of the controversy, because the fight was after the Usyk fight.
Mm-hmm,
and the referee made it super clear.
All right. Well,
everybody should literally go watch that. Go watch the referee against the Jared Anderson fight and what the referee said what is illegal and legal.
We shall do that, caller. We shall do that
plus,
indeed.
When has Usyk ever complained about low blows? I mean, like once or twice. Like out of all the fights with Anthony Joshua, with everybody, he complained maybe like once or twice. But he never like completely dropped down and like did things on purpose.
Well, there you go. There you go. The caller's giving us his opinion. Caller, thank you for your call.
It just doesn't make sense. After you watched that referee from yesterday, I watched that Jared Anderson fight, and I'm watching the referee, and I'm like, okay, if that referee was refereeing the Usyk fight, he would have counted it as a technical completely, as Usyk winning.
There you go.
Because it was a complete low blow.
All right. Well, listen, caller, thank you for your call. Excellent points, and call back next time, all right? Take it easy out there.
All right. Watch the Jared Anderson fight, referee, everybody.
We shall do that, man. Thank you. Yeah, the caller does bring up a good point, too. When people say, well, Usyk complained. Well, first of all, how much did he complain? Was he complaining throughout the fight? And second of all, just because a guy complains about something doesn't mean that one instance that everyone was talking about, that doesn't invalidate the actual foul. So let's just put that into perspective. I do agree, though, that fighters should stop complaining. I remember Chavez used to hit people on the hips. And then when people started doing it about him, he would complain. I mean, some people would call that gamesmanship. I don't like it. I want fair fights, clean fights. But it is what it is. But yeah, this whole thing, that's not a good argument about the low blow. When people say, well, Usyk was complaining about the low blows throughout the fight, therefore it invalidates the actual foul. I mean, it's that's not logical right there. Let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Let's go to 470. 470, you're on the air. 470, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? You can hear me?
Oh, Never Sobers. What's up, man?
What's up, bro? I just want to talk. What's up to everybody in the panel? I wanted to jump on and not listen to anybody's opinion too much about what happened because I wanted my opinion to be, unaltered. But everyone seems to be thinking some of the same things I am. Like, if you look at that picture of that low blow, it looks like it's half above the line and half below the line. And that just looks like a situation where it's up to the referee's discretion. If this was in the UK, the referee might have started counting. And then Usyk would have gotten up. It was in Poland. They gave him a break. And he milked it. So, I've been going at it with, these Fury fans, and it's like all these brand new Dubois fans shut up overnight saying he got robbed and all this shit about this fool can't take a punch and he's been exposed. Usyk's been dropped to the body before. He was dropped in the amateurs by Turbiev, and I think someone in the World Boxing Super Series too dropped him. I think it was Gassiev or Breedis. I can't remember, but I remember he's been dropped to the body pretty. He's been dropped by body shots, so it's not really like something that's been exposed or whatever.
It was they didn't call it a knockdown, but to me that was a knockdown. It was what's his name? The Polish kid in Poland. It wasn't part of the Super Series. It was Glowacki, I want to say his last name is. If you look at the last round, I believe it was the last round. He hits him to the body. I don't think it hurt him, and it caused him to go off balance, and he went down. When the referee missed his shot, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, yeah. Like I said, he's been dropped by body shots, bro. I don't think that's like a secret or whatever.
Right.
If you know boxing and shit, you should know that. But I got these guys that with these Tyson Fury pictures. This guy tried to tell me that they're getting so fixated on this fight not happening between Usyk and Fury that they're bringing up people like Canelo. Someone told me in 2012 that no one knew who Canelo was, and Tyson Fury was in the newspapers and stuff everywhere and on TV because he fought Klitschko. And I'm like, bro, that was like going down in history as one of the most boring championship fights in history. Like, why would you bring that up? And Canelo fought Shane Mosley and Josecito Lopez in 2012. Those were pretty good fights. Those were pretty big fights. People know who it was. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and they're saying like, Usyk needs an Oscar for that acting job. Like these new Dubois fans, bro. Everyone wants to bring up that low blow, but no one wants to talk about how this dude got dropped by a jab, and he tried to milk that 10 count. So it's like, come on, guys, cut the bullshit.
That was a nice fucking. He turned it to like a little hook jab too.
There you go.
Yeah, it was stiff.
All right. Well, listen, Never Sobers, man. Excellent points. We do have to move on because we're getting an influx of calls here, man, and we're running out of time. If you want to jump on the panel, man, I'll send you the invite, right, man?
All right. Hold on. Let me say one more thing, though, BDA, because there was a funny thing that Usyk did go up to Dubois after the fight, and he said, "You can dream. You can dream." And, I think he got lost in translation what he was trying to say. He was trying to tell him, "You can dream, but don't you ever dream about beating me."
No,
that was it.
No, he didn't say that, man. I don't think that's what he meant, but hey, you never know, man. Shout out to Never Sobers for this call. All right, let's go back to the phone calls here, and let's try to do this quick because we are running out of time. We haven't even covered the ESPN thing. 978, you're on the air. 978, what's in your mind?
Boston.
978, you're on the air. 978, going once.
That's Joe.
I think Joe already called in. No, mate, no, actually,
okay.
no.
He's 978,
no,
that's Boston, yeah.
Excuse me, yeah, I think you're right, but he's not answering, so I think he was on hold for too long. All right, one last time. Joe, are you there? 978. You're on the air, 978. All right. Let's go to 604. 604, you're on the air. 604, what's on your mind?
Yo, what's up?
What's up?
You hear me?
Yes, you're on the air.
Yeah, just with this fight, bro. I see a lot of people who don't understand what a low blow is. They think the belt line is what determines a low blow, but it's actually the navel, right? And if you look at Usyk's trunks, the top line, like the top border of his trunks, was pretty much at the navel, right? So everything on the belt line was a low blow, and that's where Dubois landed his punch. So you guys probably been over this, but I hear everyone bitching saying Dubois was robbed. Usyk was faking it and shit. I think, bro, that was clearly a low blow. And good on the ref though, because if that shit was in England or if Queensberry won that purse bid, they wouldn't have called that a low blow, and Usyk would have gotten fucked over. So yeah, there's a lot of people who don't understand how low blows work. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a big discussion, man. When people say it was clearly a legit shot, I go, I don't know, man. Those fucking white trunks, I can see the belt line, and if I ballpark it, I can tell that it was a shot. Even if you want to go to that WBA rule that a caller previously mentioned, the half of the glove is still hitting the illegal area, no matter where the glove is. If I'm ballparking it, now somebody could counter and say, yeah, but BDA, you're ballparking and you don't know either. Well, then that's the thing, though. Nobody knows. And at the end of the day, the referee saw that some of it landed low and called it a low blow. What's the issue here? Just, what do you think, caller? Should they just rematch it and get it over with, or?
No, man. Dubois doesn't deserve it. When you quit like that, bro, when you take a jab and you just quit like that, bro, you don't get a rematch, bro. You got to go out on your shield. He wants to complain about that after he already quit. Bro, if you really wanted to win, you would have kept going, bro. You don't deserve a rematch after going out like that. And all this, we're gonna hear so much bitching and appeals from Frank Warren and all this, bro. It's just annoying, man. Honestly.
Well,
a lot of people don't understand how the navel works, what the navel is, or how you actually score a low blow. They just see, oh, it was on the belt line, so it's borderline, so I guess it's okay. They just go off what the commentary team says. These people don't have minds of their own, bro. They just hear the commentary team say, oh, it was clean. Or they hear Carl Frampton say it was clean, and they just go along with that. People can't think for themselves.
It is what it is, man. That's the world we live in. By the way, is this freezing?
Yeah, it's freezing.
Hey, shout out to you, Friesen. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, it's all good. It's all good.
All right. Thank you for your call, Friesen. Call back next time, all right, man? Take it easy out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said this was a purse bid?
Excuse me? Oh, this fight?
This fight went to purse bid?
I don't know, man.
I didn't know that.
It was a mandatory, right? That's how out of touch I am with the whole alphabet thing.
Yeah, I thought that's what Friesen just said, that it was it went to purse bid, because if it did, then that's even another thing on Warren. You should have won the purse bid then, knucklehead.
Oh, well, listen, it's the rematch is I'm only insisting on the rematch if indeed the punch had been legit. If there was that big a controversy, I'm looking. We played the replay. It was half and half. What do you want? And then at the end of the day, the fight continued. And the guy couldn't keep up. Just if indeed Eastern Europeans can take it to the body, he should have just kept going to the body, which he did at some points, but not nearly enough as he should have. So I don't know if the guy's that weak to the body, then just focus body. We got another phone call here coming in. Let's go to 336. 336, you're on the air. 336. What's on your mind?
Yo, what's up? I just woke up 2 minutes ago and I saw you guys were live, so I was going to call in. I was talking with JDA about this earlier, and it really is simple. A lot of people are just sub-90 IQ fucking retards, and they're looking at the punch at its resting frame. If you look at the initial impact frame, the fist is halfway below the belt at least, and it's below the navel and waist. That is a low blow. That is inherently a low blow. And a uppercut is inherently a rising punch. When you throw an uppercut, whether it lands or misses, the punch will continue to rise until you bring your fist back to your face. So you can add, as Dubois landed the uppercut, as Usyk was hunching over and pulling away, the punch continued to rise, and they have it set in a position after the punch was completed to make it look like it was a clean body shot. It started low, it strayed low, it was low. Usyk got up from the low blow and outclassed them and dominated them, and that's how it should be remembered. Not these little Wakanda Crip channels crying because another black fighter got knocked the fuck out, and that's just what it was. Usyk won because he's a better fighter, not because he's white. And these Crips are gonna cry about it, and we're gonna keep laughing. When Loma got robbed, they said, "All you do was cry, bro. All you do is cry, bro." So we're gonna keep. That's what we're gonna do on them. We're gonna stay on their necks. And we're gonna troll them. That's what I've been doing, the last 12 hours or whatever, whenever I can.
12 hours.
And I think everyone here needs to, I think everyone here needs to troll the Lick Deontay's Balls crew, Lions Dick Ball Chokers, whenever you can, because they've been taking crazy L's this year. And Canelo for plus 370, he's gonna go Crip Destroyer mode, and he's gonna stop that hype job, and it's easy money. I mean. That dude's been shit. Okay, that's all I had to say on that. It was a clean, or it was a low blow, and Usyk got up and knocked him the fuck out. So,
all right. Well, shout out to you, Fire Fist. Thank you for your call. Call back next time, all right? Take it easy out there. Yeah, hang up. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. We're running out of time here. We already spent 2 hours on this, 2 hours and 10 minutes to be precise. Let's talk about briefly the ESPN card, fellas. Jared Anderson beating. I forget the guy's name. I have to prop it up, but he ended up beating up that Ukrainian guy that we talked about earlier in the week. I mean, this fight didn't prove much. It was a stay busy fight, and it was also a bounce back fight to get Jared Anderson some confidence. I like the fact that he's not a back foot bitch. He comes forward. He loads up on some of his shots. I mean, he doesn't load up as in, just one shot. But he puts on 2-3 punch combinations. I've seen guys fight this type of punching bag before, and just do the one punch at a time thing running back. The fact that he decided to actually be aggressive and try to stop this guy, that's the bare minimum he should have done. Because that's what other fighters had done to these Ukrainian guys. So that's what I liked. Again, guys, I can't take too much, make too much out of this fight because it was a mismatch going in. But what did you guys think? First of all, I didn't see the pre-fight package that they did on Jared Anderson. But did somebody tell me that they brought up his incarcerated brother and they tried to play it off as sympathetic? Did anybody watch that, or because I didn't catch it, so I can't speak on it.
You know how they infantilize black people.
Come on! No, wait a minute.
No, I mean that as a defense to black people. That's what I mean that as. You got to be a criminal to be liked. You got to have a criminal brother. You know what I'm saying?
Gonzalo, Jimmy, did you guys see it or? The pre-fight
I didn't
package?
see. I was slipping in and out of consciousness because, like, when the fight happens here, it's like 3 or 4 in the morning. Then I gotta stay up for the next card, which was ESPN Jared Anderson, and I was tired by then. But I did watch the fight.
No,
I missed what you're saying.
But Gonzalo, the way you said, I was drifting in and out of consciousness. It made it seem as if you were bleeding to death or something. It's like I was drifting in and out of consciousness.
No, the fight's in England and I'm in the Philippines. So 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and I was catching the Usyk fight. And by the time the other fight card started around 8 or 9 in the morning, I was like fucking tired. But it didn't prove much, BDA, because Rudenko, I think, was like 6 feet tall, and I think what was giving problems to Jared Anderson last fight, I think Charles Martin is a little bit taller, and it was those long punches where he was pulling his head back and couldn't really gauge the distance and was still getting caught as he was pulling his head away. With this guy, that wasn't going to happen because 6 feet compared to Jared Anderson, much taller, he was never going to get those rangy shots where he had to worry about that, right? So he basically overwhelmed him.
I mean, look, it was a stay busy fight. It was
perfect age. He's at a perfect age, and he's staying active. There's a lot to work on, but I think if he continues this activity, BDA, and then on top of that, you take his age, you take his height. What is he, like 6'3", 6'4", pushing that at least 230 mark. These fighters are getting older. He might be in perfect position in a couple of years to beat these guys.
You're right. Look. Yeah. The heavyweight division is not that. Look, some of these guys are on their way out. I mean, Usyk is 36, soon to be 37 in January. Fury, you never know when he's just going to drop out of the sport at all. Joshua is 33 or 34. I forget. So again, Yeah, but I mean, it's you just never know. Again, he looked like crap against Charles Martin, and people tried to build up Martin afterwards. Like, well, actually, Martin's not that bad a fighter. No, trust me, he's bad. But he's 23. He can learn. Jared Anderson can improve on this. But I just want to stick back because I didn't hear from Jimmy. Jimmy, did you see the pre-fight package for the Jared Anderson fight? Because I just wanted to, somebody saw. Yeah.
Yes, I didn't actually. I saw right after that part. I saw when they were on like taking a horse ride and shit.
Oh, okay.
Well, but I'm gonna go back and watch it.
Okay.
And give you my opinion next time for sure.
Okay,
but how did they play it up? That he was a victim? Like, did they try that?
I don't know. That's what some people said, but I didn't see it.
Well, ESPN.
That's what some people said, but I didn't see it, so I can talk about it because I mean I'm not gonna. I have to see it first. So, but the point is,
that's
Jared
the whole
Anderson,
knock on ESPN, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because that's why it wouldn't surprise me if they did it, but I don't know if they did. The other thing about, you want to say anything about Jared Anderson's performance, Jimmy? I mean, I don't know. I know there wasn't much, but
yeah, no, I'm very, very turned off with Jared Anderson's his attitude towards the sport. This whole just the things he's tweeting on, the things he's saying about I'm only here for the wealth, not the legacy. Well, guy, it doesn't take a fucking degree from Harvard Business School to realize you acquire the legacy that comes with the wealth. I don't know how many guys retire from boxing with no legacy, with a comfortable fucking checking account. You know what I mean? That's not how it works. You acquire the wealth because you're establishing legacy. The bigger you get, the more championships you win, the more money you acquire. He wants to bail by 27 regardless of whatever money he makes, wherever position he's at, because the sport doesn't represent him. He has a lot more to offer the world. So it's just, he doesn't talk like a fighter. To me, doesn't seem like he has a mindset of a fighter. Doesn't seem like someone who really likes the sport. So I would not be surprised if, it works against him someday. If your heart isn't in this, you're not living this sport.
Your heart's not in
who
it.
you are. You're not gonna. Somebody's gonna check you.
Exactly. Somebody that has the heart for it is gonna put you in your place eventually.
Charles Martin almost did that to him.
Yeah, because a guy like Charles
Martin
right?
started fucking dogging it out with him.
I guarantee you, a guy like Charles Martin's mindset is, yo, I'm muscle. I might as well just use, when you're 6'4", 6'5", or whatever, and you weigh like fucking 270 pounds, and you don't got much going for yourself. You realize what you have. You have strength. And so now take a guy who loves, not only says I'm going to box, but I'm trying to create some type of legacy. They see a guy like Jared Anderson, if that's really his mindset, when the fight gets tough, he's going to check out.
Yeah, I want to see him with the style with somebody like, for example, Charles Martin was a southpaw. Rudenko wasn't, and he shorter arms. He was getting caught once again by Charles Martin with them long lives. Just think Josh Taylor versus the other dude, fucking Catterall. Long lives, down the middle. With Rudenko, you were not going to get that. So obviously it was like a tailor-made little dude, fucking T-Rex arms. We want to see him against a bigger dude that's going to throw them long punches to see if he can scoot his head out of the way like he couldn't against Charles last fight.
Yeah, you know what, Gonzalo? Yeah, that was again. It was a stay busy fight. It was a rebound fight to make him look good and get his confidence back. Also to keep him busy, because in today's world where even prospects now they're only fighting twice a year, which is insane. It's good that they got him some activity. Again, this fight didn't prove much other than the fact that. By the way, some people I wanted to hit on this first. Some people were saying that Anderson can't crack. I don't know, man. I mean, when you get a big guy like this, even though he's not tall, but he's, heavyweight, he's more or less durable, and he's just covering up. It's going to take a while to break him down. Wouldn't you say? Like, how would you guys gauge Anderson's power?
I just think
he's got
all of this.
Seems good.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I just think he has a lot of natural ability and talent, but just him not really caring and wanting, it takes a little bit off everything. So he probably, if it doesn't come easy, he probably doesn't try that hard for it. I think Charles Martin, with the full training camp, probably would knock him out. That dude came in like a week notice, didn't he, for that fight with with Anderson?
I believe so. Yeah.
I know he was a late replacement. So that dude with the full camp, I think he would have beat him. So I just don't think that he wants it.
Anderson has the ability to be a really good puncher if he works hard at it. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen him knock some dudes out with some real fast, heavy punches. But it all like Never Sober said, man, it all depends on him. It's like if he takes he takes the sport serious and he wants to continue to get better, he's definitely got the size. I think 6'4" or 6'5", whatever height he is, it's like the perfect size. Look at Usyk. Usyk's smaller than that Jared Anderson in terms of body size. But he shows you he can hurt you, bro. If you got fast hands with these heavyweights and they can't see this punch is coming, bro, they like, you ever see an elephant the way they react when they see a mouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be like that for them.
Oh, I've said it before. It's not the first time I've mentioned this, that he throws straight punches and he puts his shoulder behind it. He commits. And a straight punch is always going to be harder even than a hook because it's like an arrow. The way it just shoots down the center, boom. So the dude can crack, and he's got a perfect blend of size and not necessarily maybe like the hardest puncher, but when you got size and speed, man, because think about like a real power puncher, like let's say Joyce. The hands are so heavy and he's so lumbering that it takes away from the speed. So yes, it'll fucking hurt, but then you can anticipate it more. With him, he's probably not as heavy-handed, but it's still heavy. But when you mix that with the speed, the punch is coming harder.
Yeah,
and that's what when BDA, when you're like that size, like, again, just to harken back a little bit to Usyk, because I think him and Jared Anderson are comparable in terms of height, and they got some speed. When even though you're being outweighed by, like, let's say 20 to 30 pounds of probably good muscle weight besides fat, what you have is the advantage of speed. And so when you're fighting a guy who's heavy and he fights guys that are heavy like him, he's not used to that speed coming at him. You understand what I'm saying? He's not used to that fast push muscle. And it kind of catches him off guard, and that's what you want to do when you're the smaller guy in the ring with super heavyweights.
Recognize. Just look at it. Just look at Usyk's swivel jab. That when he tweaks it a little bit and just turns it over, it's like, damn, he's snapping this dude's head back. Like, what the fuck that come from?
Exactly. Yeah. No, there's technique behind that. I think with him is a little different because he comes from a wrestling background, I think a fencing background, so he knows how to fucking use that lead hand as a power tool. But but going back to like a guy like Jared Anderson, I think if he was to commit himself, say, if anybody can correct me on his height, I think he's about 6'4", right? So and he's about 230, 240, let's just say. I think if he committed himself to being, all right, I'm gonna beat these guys with speed and power, bro, he probably knocks a lot of these dudes out. And like I said, because of his age, and these guys and the stars today are older or getting older, he's in perfect position to beat these dudes.
I mean, that's the thing,
all
though.
of them, but some of them,
right? I mean, he's been knocking out a lot of subpar opposition, which is understandable. You're supposed to put him in there against the type of guys that he can shine against. But as soon as he stepped up against Charles Martin, there were a lot of holes in his game: inability to cut the ring off, inability to really get off. So my point is, I don't know. Like, everything you say is right on the money. Recognized. The only thing is the X factor. Can he do that? Can he actually fight off the back foot and win? Because it's people say. I remember somebody called after Jared Anderson fought Martin. And the guy said that Anderson could outbox Usyk. And he said, well, he's faster than, or he's fast. And I said, okay, yeah, it's one thing to be fast. It's another thing to have the timing, the ability, the technique. Because let's face the facts. If you get horrible technique, if your legs are spread too far wide or whatever, it's going to take you time to get in and get out. It's going to leave you at a handicap in a way. So all of those things have to mash together to create the perfect package. I don't know if Anderson has that. We shall see. Again, he's only 23. And he's,
Mr. BBA,
yes.
Can I just say real quick before we get off to Anderson? The fact that they swapped up the opponents at the last minute, like he was supposed to fight the undefeated Kazakhstani kid who got kicked out for DQ for low blow, but is a better fighter than the guy he did take on. I mean, that guy he fought, who had never been stopped, hasn't been stopped in a long time, I guess, was tailor-made. The guy walked straight in. Like, literally, he put his hands up into the side of into his face and just walked straight in at him.
Right.
I mean, there was not even anything even jokingly resembling a feint or a good jab. So this guy was tailor-made. My point being, if you looked bad against Charles Martin, let's be honest, man, Charles Martin had him hurt a lot more than he had Martin hurt. He did drop him in the third, but that was it. After that, he didn't look good. And Charles Martin's not the type of dude at this age and stage of his career. He's the type of dude you feast upon on your rise to heavyweight stardom. I don't give a shit that he took him on early in his career or his nerves. That doesn't affect the chin. He was chin checked by Charles Martin and didn't react well to being punched after.
That's right.
And Jimmy, it had a lingering effect, is what I'm saying.
And Jimmy, you
That's
referenced the
not a
point
good
because
sign.
I saw. Right, and you referenced the point because I saw you that tweet you made about how money and legacy go hand in hand, and it takes us back to the whole Jared Anderson, his motivation for fighting, because he's got a lot of holes in his game. And people could say, yeah, but he's 23. The hope is that at 23 years of age, he can still improve and patch those holes up. But then you got to look at the other scenario. What if he doesn't? I mean, is he just going to turn into another Eddie Chambers, who was a good fighter, but his physical talent could only take him so far? So you're right. Once you enter into the equation of, well, he doesn't really seem that much into boxing, so it casts suspicion and doubt on whether he's actually improving or how much he can improve if he's not really that motivated in the first place.
Exactly. You just answered the question. He's not motivated. Listen, if it's not motivating every aspect of your life, if you don't wake up in the morning, the first thing you thought is, I got to get into the gym today and work on my flaws. Like, obviously, boxing's not that to him. So by, like you said, these things he would fix, and he's 23. It's not like he's 19. He's 23 years old. So, and it doesn't seem like, he's only got 4 years left in the sport. How much more is he going to achieve or even get better? But we'll see. But those comments he makes and his attitude towards the sport, I don't like. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I don't buy that whole thing about I'm retiring by 27. I think that's, how many times have we seen fighters say that, and then 43 years old, they're still getting knocked out at a fucking state fair in fucking Milwaukee. You know what I mean? So it's
and that mentality is definitely not helping for the Americans who think that this guy is going to be the guy to represent the United States and whatnot for like the next heavyweight that's going to be here to stay. I mean, that's not boding well for the people. And what does Jared Anderson think about that? He's supposed to be the heir apparent to take it back for America. That's crazy.
And you know what, though? I will say this, though. If we're looking at the positive outcome, Jared Anderson is the only shining beacon for the Americans out there in terms of the heavyweight division. And he has a competent promoter behind him, Tom Prank, promotional company. Deontay Wilder, I've said it before, I'll repeat it. He should have been bigger than what he was. He really should have. Young, undefeated. Right now, they're really trying to push this, Afro-Anglo thing onto culture more than ever. He should have been bigger. Power puncher on top of that. Why did he become bigger? Because the PBC, it's Al Heyman, who's a manager, not the promoter, and he delegates certain promotional duties to people, but most of the time he just wants to try to do everything himself, and he doesn't know about marketing boxers. Look at just for PBC's, for the argument's sake, give me the out of the almost 10 years that the PBC has been around, what's the mainstream star that they created? Tank Davis? And he's not even, he's before the Ryan Garcia fight, his biggest pay-per-view was what, 300,000 pay-per-view buys, I think, maybe a little bit less, maybe around that ballpark. So it took him about 10 years. Tom Prank, Golden Boy, they've developed at least 3 or 4. Well, maybe not Golden Boy, they've got 2 at least. But the point is, at least Jared Anderson is with Tom Prank, and if they push him correctly, and if he starts getting his shit together, he could be what they want him to be in terms of mainstream status. But we shall see. We shall see.
That's good. At least he's staying busy, BDA, because the saying, it sounds very cliche, but it's true. An idle mind is a devil's playground. They try to push Spence, but look, you give these fighters time and they fucking get into car wrecks, right? Do crazy stuff.
Exactly. Some of these guys, they people say, well, the coach is not the babysitter, the promoter is not the babysitter. Guess what? Some of these guys need a babysitter because otherwise, like Gonzalo said, and by the way, in Spanish, the saying, the expression, the idle hands are the devil's playground. I think it's more to the mind. It's the idle mind, and it just it's the same thing. It's true. If you give these guys too much time to relax and there's no pressure, blah blah blah, some of these guys can go nuts. We still got some phone calls here.
I think you call it mente ociosa in Spanish is what you call it. Ociosa.
Yeah, ociosa. Okay, there you go. Let's go to a phone call here then. We got some phone calls here. 416, you're on the air. 416, what's on your mind?
Yo, what's up, BDA, Gonzalo, Jamie panel, recognize.
What's up, man?
I gotta say, yesterday's, the entire roster of fights from Poland to the U.S. were dedicated to, like, fucking boxing equals the ballet. A nutcracker. A complete fucking nutcracker. I mean, back and forth. You just, fucking Dubois set the stage with, racking up fucking Usyk's balls to try to get him close to his sternum. And then fucking Efe Ajagba and that Kazakh who clearly was he was just like, oh, you can punch me in the balls, I'm gonna fucking try to like make you fucking throttle your fucking balls and throat them to you, buddy. So it was like nonstop. That bouts yesterday was crazy that way. But further to the boxing aspect, I would have to agree with recognize the one thing that will disturb and what Usyk has kind of definitely shown in the heavyweight division is that the way to beat these slow and cumbersome and fucking Igor fucking boxers is speed, punches and bunches. And I think that fat walking colostomy bag Tyson Fury, even though I think he's a complete idiot, sees that. He sees that, you know what, Usyk will give me a lot of problems because of his speed, because of his foot movement, because of how he's going to top up my face nice and proper. Dubois, no matter how many guys will call in or wrangle on for the next fucking 6 weeks about the low blow controversy, yeah, Dubois had an additional 5 minutes as well to rest. So what did he do beyond that 5 minutes? And did he not quit on his knee? A heavyweight fighter, or if not a contending fighter or a prize fighter, should always go to the final fucking round until that bell is rung. If not, then you're, as my Jamaican brothers say, you're pussy clot. You're damn pussy clot, you see? And that's what it is. Yeah, man, that's what it is.
All right.
Yeah, man. I mean, other than that, Gonzalo, you're in the Philippines?
Yep, he's in the Philippines.
Yeah, I've been here for a while.
Did you go down there with the passport bros?
Passport bros?
The passport bro. No.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, you've been there for a while? All right, cool.
I married a sister, Jehovah's Witness. She's a cool lady, but she's okay.
Hey, caller, passport bros, is that like a porn thing? Because that's how it sounds to me.
Yeah.
No, you go on. It's a lot of these American or North American dudes that are escaping the crazy quote unquote North American women and flying to places like the Philippines, Thailand, and getting married and shit.
Oh, I got it. Interesting.
Well, I've gone missing a few times, but that's a subject for a different day. I've gone missing sometimes. I'll just put it to you that way.
You're mixing BDA. You're mixing up bang bros with passport bros.
Yeah, that's maybe what set me off a little bit. You're right. That's probably what threw me off. All right, well, caller, anything else you want to say before you move on?
Yeah. No, man. I mean, in regards to the heavyweight fucking division, it's sad that Jared Anderson's like fucking bailing out and telling the world, like, he's not in for it for legacy, and it's that itself will kind of hinder his his ability to be kind of looked after, I guess, in the sport. I think. I mean, it's idiotic, but maybe it's young. It's a young, petulism. Just you just roll it down to young bros being petulous and fucking idiot. But anyways, y'all boys enjoy the rest of your fucking Sunday. Give thanks to the one and only.
That's right.
And spend your beer money wisely.
All right, we shall do that indeed, caller. Well, thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there.
Also, Dora, you're crazy, bro. Dora, you're crazy.
Yeah, he's a little bit out there, that's for sure. He's eccentric. That's what we like to call him. All right, well, listen. All right, thank you for your call. Call back next time. There we go. Let's go to our phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. 631, you're in the air. 631, what's on your mind?
Yeah, so I guess I kind of want to go with the Jared Anderson thing because honestly, the whole Dubois situation, I find it kind of corny at this point. Like everybody's talking about like one moment in a fight when, as the other caller said, and I actually didn't even realize this, Dubois had like 5 minutes to recover too, and he was getting pretty much beat up before that round because he got dropped. Was in the second or third or something like that, and then
well, I think
after that he just
much later.
He got dropped to a jab.
I think he got dropped much later, I think. But yeah, go ahead.
But then after that, he got like knocked out by like a jab, and let's be real, he like quit to it. I just don't really see a lot of future in him, and I see already and I usually don't get on the English crowd too much because I think they're like real boxing fans, but I feel like in certain cases they like to praise. I don't know what you would call it. I guess they like to say it's called bravery when it's not really there, and I feel like this is one of those occasions. I don't really understand how it's brave to hit a dude below the belt and then quit nearing the end of the fight. But on to Jared Anderson, I kind of am turned off by like his whole like attitude, to be honest. I almost like I was watching the Rudenko fight, and I was like gonna watch it just because it was a fun knockout, but then I was thinking, I don't really care what you do after this because you don't even really care what you do after this. You're already talking about leaving at 27.
You know what, caller? You bring up an excellent point.
At this point,
real quick, something that I say about that, yeah, you're right, because as a customer, I'm assuming that we're all boxing customers. We pay to watch these fights. I'm selective of what I want to see. If a guy delivers 2 or 3 bad performances in a row, guess what? I'm not gonna. It's like a restaurant. If the restaurant sucks, I'm not gonna keep going there because I'm a fan of food, so therefore I have to keep going there. So you're right. If a guy's already telling you he doesn't really care that much, as a customer, you start thinking a little bit. No. But I mean, let me ask you this, caller. Do you find his fights so far entertaining?
They're entertaining, but the thing is, that doesn't, at a certain point, if I'm to be invested in you, okay, let me put it like this. There was a guy that fought, what's his name? That fought Lee McGregor. His name is, I think it's Eric Robles. He's very entertaining. I would actually like, his fights are pretty fun. But I'm not hugely invested in him. I don't really care that much because I don't really care too much about, like, where he goes from here. Also, the division he's in, I think it's like 122, and I'm pretty sure he's not winning a title up there, so it's kind of just I'm kind of just like off from that fighter alone. If this fight pops up, maybe I'll watch it because it's fun, but I'm not going to be going out of my way to search for this guy, and that's kind of what Jared Anderson would be for me.
No, you're right, man. You're right. You bring up a good point there. It's hard to get invested with these guys if they're not invested in the sport either, man. So you're right. We'll see what happens, Jared Anderson. Hopefully he turns it around, man. Because that would make the division a little bit more exciting.
Also, one more thing. I talked to you about this before, but I kind of agree now. I think they should put pretty much all their focus, unless he says something too, into Richard Torres, try to get him fighting every 2 months or something, at least for his first couple of fights, because he is still fun to watch. He's a little bit flawed, but at least he goes out there, he rushes to get the knockout, and I think he should just be out there a bit more. Maybe pump the brakes on Anderson a little bit. Well, not pump the brakes, but just bring up Torres more.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That is
closer to the future.
Somebody actually pointed out that he was injured, and that's why he was MIA for a little bit by ES.
No, that was me who pointed out he was injured, but he's not injured anymore, so time to put that.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. All right, listen, caller, good call, and call back next time, right, man?
All right.
Take it easy out there. Yeah, good points about the Jared Anderson thing there. I guess all we can do is keep an eye on them. I tell you what, though, Jalalov, somebody's mentioning him in the chat. He fought last night as well, scored a first round knockout. Now, I'm always confused with Jalalov because nowadays you can become pro and fight in the Olympics. So I keep forgetting. So he fought he turned pro in 2018, but because of the new rules, he can still fight in the Olympics. So he did fight in the Olympics 3 years ago. Excuse me. The Olympics were delayed, right? They took place in 2021. So why does it say 2020? All right, so they were delayed. So it's essentially he's a gold medalist from the last Olympic Games. He's got a record of 13-0 according to what I'm looking at here. 13-0, 13 knockouts. Last night he took on a guy, Norde Ewareme from Nigeria, I believe. He sounds like he's Nigerian, and knocked him out in the first round. Guys, what do you think about? I was talking about Jared Anderson and how most of these top guys are on their way out soon, so maybe time is on his side. But I gotta tell you, Jalalov though. If he's still around by then, because he's 29, he could be a problem for fucking Anderson, man. With his height, 6 feet 7 inches tall, his pedigree. What do you guys think of Jalalov so far? Not much to go on from last night.
Hopefully he stays too, because the Olympics are in 2024, I believe, in Switzerland. I'm not sure. I just saw something that there's a Filipino guy, not to get off subject, but Emir Marcial, a dude from Pac-Man Promotions. He was a Olympic fighter for the Philippines, but he's fighting professionally. But now he's going back to the Olympics. Hopefully, this guy Jalalov stays on course on the professionals. Yeah, man, the dude's tall. Dude, he's like 6'6", powerful.
Yeah, and a heck of a straight left.
I got to say, Mr. BDA, I was happily surprised by El Jefe last night, that big Nigerian dude on the top rank card, because he couldn't catch up with Sanchez. That was his loss, remember? And that was kind of a low period in his career. But he went out and shed a bunch of that upper body mass. I thought he moved pretty good last night. The reason why that guy kept tagging him in the nuts is because he was hitting him with body shots. He was doing it from distance with his jab. That was the thing that he was lacking, was a good range-finding jab. And they said he's been working hard in the gym. Like, this kind of the polar opposite of us, Anderson, at least the way he speaks, is a kid like, they took the better of the two opponents and they said, hey, you're going to get him because you mean less to us. You have a loss in your record. All that other shit, it's like, just be honest. And that kid looked good last night. The reason why, like I said, that guy went to his nuts like that was because he was getting tuned up by him. So I'm surprised. That was probably his biggest problem, was his feet and his movement and his jab. So I'm just saying I saw a marked improvement in Al Jeffrey last night. So,
yeah, when they Jagba,
just wanted to say that.
Yeah, the dude they put him in there, Kosubuski, first of all, he looks like a psycho, and he behaved like a psycho last night. And the other thing is, though, Kosubuski, he was supposed to fight Jared Anderson last July. And he had trouble with the visa, so they pulled him out. And I remember thinking, man, this Kosubuski could have been a problem. Now, in hindsight, Top Rank was thinking the same way I was, which was, man, maybe this guy's too dangerous for Anderson. That's why they put Anderson in there with the guy they put him in the punching bag from last night, because they were afraid that Kosubuski was going to put it on him. That being said, because in hindsight, they should have put him in there, Kosubuski, because he couldn't take it to the body. And that's what Jared Anderson was doing last night. So Kosubuski, Ajagba, even though the other dude imploded, you're right, Jimmy, he was being hard to hit, Ajagba. He was judging that distance nicely. The first round, it looked like Kosubuski was going to have his way. But then Ajagba started using his length a little bit more. I'm still dubious about how good he is, Ajagba, because when he fought Stephen Shaw, he did look a little bit too hesitant in there. I think movement does give him problems. But he's still 6 feet 6 inches tall. Yeah, a little bit. But he's like you said, though, he's improving too at 29. He's 6 feet 6 inches tall. Who do you think they put him up there against next, Top Rank?
I don't know. Maybe Richard Torres. Put it this way: whoever if Richard Torres, between Richard Torres and Jared Anderson, whoever they match Jeffrey up with, that's the one they care least about, because he has a chance to win because of his length. and does punch hard. And we saw that Anderson got rocked by Prince Charles, who wasn't as fast as El Jeffrey. And again, like you said before, he was very robotic and stiff, super strong, but had all that mass. Looks like he shed a lot of that mass, and he's starting to learn to use his size. And so that was it was a marked improvement. So that could be a tough out. And if he's really getting better, he should be happy with his performance last night. Too bad that guy went, ballistic like that, but.
You know who he looked like a little bit facially, Jimmy? He looked a little bit like Johnny Boy Soprano. Remember in the Sopranos when Tony would have his flashbacks and his fucking psycho father? That's what he looked like a little bit facially. I said, what the fuck? This guy is a psycho. What the hell was wrong with him? But a Jagba, some Shadow Combat in the chat says, put a Jagba in there with Anderson. Excuse me, Stephen Shaw with Anderson. Stephen Shaw recently got knocked out, right? So I'm pretty sure maybe Top Ran's thinking, okay, this guy's already lost twice. Once by stoppage. Maybe we can throw him in there with Jared Anderson. Just to, cut inventory, as Boxing Chief would say. But yeah, it was an interesting night of heavyweight fights. A Jagba looked pretty good in there. It was a bit of an incomplete performance because of what the other guy did with the low blows. We had Usyk stopping Dubois. Then we had, what's his name? Jared Anderson scoring a stoppage as well. So a heavyweight bonanza for everybody. Next week, by the way.
I watched the fighter high on Jimmy Abdullah Mason. He's pretty good. It reminds me a little of Seth Judah. He's quick, throws stiff punches, and combos. He fought a tough dude, though.
Yeah, he fought a real tough Mexican last night. They did match up his point because that was, I think, only his 6th fight. And he just turned 19. Like, literally just turned 19. So he's just a kid. And I just see a lot of good things. I see movement, and he goes for the knockouts. He has power. I just think if he loves the sport, like they say, I think this could be the kid in the future would give, I believe he has the dimensions to give Shakur, you know what I mean, a good fight. But, yeah.
Hey, I forgot to mention, too, Oscar Collazo fought last night against Garen Diagan and ended up stopping him. Diagan pulled out, I think, in the 6th or 7th round, in between rounds. This Collazo kid, he's quick, he comes forward. He's got good technique. Again, the fact that they put him in there quickly for a title shot. I mean, I know titles, anybody can get one nowadays, or almost anybody. But still, it's the fact that this guy is looking promising. And it's in a division, unfortunately, that many people just don't give a shit about. It is what it is. But it doesn't dissuade from the fact that he's a very skilled fighter. I enjoyed watching him last night. That was on the zone. Yeah.
No, say the Nick, I guess Muhammad Ali's grandson is a professional figher. I had no idea.
I didn't know that, man.
So the guy Nico Ali, are they done with that now? Like, it's like, who in that family did you owe money to, Bob? Like, to push that kid the way they did. I thought it was going to be a one-time deal. Like, we're going to launch him like this, and then we're going to treat him like everybody else. The fact that he was like 3rd in line on the headline card, I mean, that's bad. I'll tell you right now, I guarantee you, Bob was like, that's 2 fights in a row. The other one was a draw. The guy popped dirty, so they're taking that, to a non-decision. But you lost last night to a kid that you weren't supposed to lose to, and you're like,
absolutely.
This early on, you're not going to see him in the 3rd doing fights anymore. In like the 3rd to the headline. That's just enough of this already. The experiment should be over. If this kid wants to continue to fight, he's one loss away from being just a fucking club fighter, for real.
That was Timothy Bradley's twin. That's right. He did pretty good.
Yeah, he kind of looked like Timothy Bradley, the African dude, huh? You're right. But you know what's interesting about that? I didn't know that, Jimmy, until you said it, that he's Ali's grandson. Wow, I didn't know that, man. See, ESPN never told us, man.
No idea.
It's not like they were battering us over the head.
It.
Yeah, it's not like they were battering us over the head every time he fought that he was Ali's grandson. And you know what's interesting, though? They gave this motherfucker more hype than Torres. So, I mean, yeah, hopefully now but Top Rank does this, man. Top Rank has done this across time where they stick to one guy and they know he's not going to be a pound for pound or whatever. But for some reason, they think, hey, we'll just keep him. Like, I remember John Doddy at some point. Back in the mid-2000s, they kept pushing him. I mean, don't forget, Top Rank's the one that started with the whole Butterbean and Mia St. John on their undercards, pay-per-view undercards. So they're into gimmicks a little bit, too. I guess they think that sells
they've always been a little gimmicky.
Yeah.
Well, they tried doing it. Well, they didn't try it. They're doing it. I don't know who the promoter was for the Usyk fight, but the co-main was I was watching his fight last night. What's it? Nassim Hamed's son. Dude, he fought a dude that was like real skinny, like a spaghetti string. That was fucking crazy too, man. The co-main for that card. But anyways.
Yeah, now all
Yeah,
these
and I don't know who really.
Go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Finish BDA.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know who was doing the ESPN card because when it went back to the ring to interview with Usyk, they usually say we'll go back to the ring and they'll say the ESPN counterpart. But this wasn't ESPN. It was actually Michelle Phelps. The fucking the reporter, like the boxing reporter. She was doing she was holding the thing, and Usyk said. They asked him about his power. You know, he's known as a power puncher, Dubois, heavy-handed. And he said, no, did not hurt me other than my balls. And he said that. He said, other than my balls. So if I was curious, it was like a low blow to bother someone else. Yeah, no, it was his, said right away, it was his balls. And if you look there was zero hesitation in his face. Like it was that squinch he made in his face. Like that was, I guarantee what happened. It caught the top of his cup and it just slid it right up. And it's happened to me. If you get a smaller waist, you don't have your shit put down right. Yeah, the cup, those things are brutal. Remember, I've said it before in the show. I used to get in trouble because I used to spar with my baseball cup or my hockey cup. I wouldn't want to use. I hate those things. They're cumbersome, and because they're big and they rise up around your lower midsection, that's why I hated them. Because if you caught the cup right up high, it would fucking pinch the shit out of your gems.
Yeah, that's why people
I
keep
hated
saying,
those things. So I used to always wear those. Yeah.
Yeah, people keep pointing out, hey, he didn't hit him in the balls. Yeah, but like what Jimmy's saying, that the cup probably rode up. Again, it says, is it speculation? Well, it's an educated speculation from a guy who's gone through it. Again, I think that's where the confusion is coming from, where Usyk is doing himself a bit of a disservice. But if he did indeed feel a big effect from that cup running up and the punch was low and he drove it up, then he's in the right to do that. I also wanted to mention something else here, man. An upset occurred on Friday. Not much people were aware. I wasn't even aware that this was taking place on Friday. But Vladimir Hernandez, who's a classic gatekeeper, he's already pulled off a couple of upsets like he did against what's his name, J-Rock, Julian Williams, and not Mono Ramos, the other Ramos. Is it Jesus or?
Jesus Ramos beat Vladimir.
I think that was in Atlanta, BDA. I think that was in Atlanta.
Was that? Yeah, he was in Atlanta, the main event. Okay, he beat, he beat Angulo, Alfredo Angulo, who was still around. He beat J-Rock, Julian Williams. Okay, no, this isn't the guy. I'm confusing him with another guy. I think I'm confusing him with, what's his name?
No, he did fight. He did fight Ramos, BD, but he lost to Ramos.
Yeah, he fought Mono Ramos.
Though. He throws like 1,000 punches, though.
Well, anyway, listen. The point is, he's already beat a name that was on the way out in Alfredo Angulo. He beat J-Rock, Julian Williams. Now he beat on Friday Lorenzo Simpson, who was 13-0 going in. Simpson looked like he was going to be too fast for him in the first round, but then Hernandez just kept on plugging away and forced Simpson to fight on the inside. Simpson appeared to be the slightly harder puncher, but this just goes to show you the thing about activity. If you keep throwing shots, the judges look and they go, well, this guy threw a volley of 8 shots here. I don't know. It looked like 3 landed. I don't know. So they give you the benefit of the doubt for being the aggressor. You know, the rules technically say effective aggression, but again, I'm not going to get into that whole thing. But anyway, he pulled off another upset by majority decision. I tell you, this Vladimir Hernandez guy, you better pack your lunch if you're going to fight him, because... And now I want to go back to watch Madrimov and Ramos. They knocked him out. They stopped him, rather. So I want to see how they did it and how these guys like J-Rock and Lorenzo Simpson can do it. But shout out to Vladimir Hernandez, man. Getting himself another upset win. Classic gatekeeper. If you want to know the definition of gatekeeper, watch this guy. Well-conditioned, tough. He's got a little craft in there. And he just won't stop punching. So you catch the fight if you can, guys. It was on the zone. Maybe if you get a subscription, I think you can rewatch it. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Anything else you guys want to say? Anything we missed? Anything you guys might have been in?
APDA, that singer that sang for what's it Usyk, he was tripping me out, man. He looked like a homeless dude in the not suit, but the traditional attire. Remember, he did a video one time of this homeless dude breakdancing to a Michael Jackson song, and the people were staring at him. He looked like that guy.
I never saw it, man. I've never seen that video, but I do know the guy you're talking. You talk about the guy with long beard, long hair and a beard.
Yeah, in other words, remember the movie Amores Perros we were talking about the other day? Yeah, he looked like that dude too.
No, you know who he looked like, Gonzalo? The first thing that came to my mind. Remember that guy from Tito Tarantula? From Dust Till Dawn. He was in a bunch of other. That's what. Look, I'm putting the picture up. That's what he looks like. This isn't the guy that was there yesterday, but he looks like fucking. What's his name? Tito Larriba. He used to have. If you watch a Roadhouse, in the beginning of Roadhouse, he's in there too. In that nice club in the beginning. That's the guy from the band. That was before Tito and Tarantula. But that's the guy. That's the guy that was singing the national anthem or whatever yesterday. I saw him. I said, "Hey, isn't that the guy from Tito and Tarantula?" But yeah, man, that's you. Got to have a certain look to be able to pull this style off. What would you guys call it? Bumcore? Is that the style? Like, I don't know, drunk core?
BDA chic.
Nah, come on. BDA chic. No, that's not BDA. That's not what I look like, man. I dress. I grew myself. But yeah, man. Yeah, good.
Am I mixing that up with Bucho's look?
My final word on that fight, on the whole controversy, is this: like, you know, I understand one of the callers, he called him with the accent there, and he was saying he got robbed of an opportunity. He was a bullied kid. Like, yeah, everybody's got sob stories when they were kids. You know, everybody come up with something like, regardless, man, should he have won off what it was definitely, you know, a low blow? I mean, it hit him low, below the navel. And regardless, is he the type of dude who's going to maintain his championship? It would just be one of those, you know, he's just not that caliber of fighter. And we saw that when, again, he had 5 minutes to recover, and he was the bigger, stronger guy in there, and he took a knee.
There you go. I mean,
yeah, I just want to say that do you guys think that Usyk was milking the low blow? Was he faking it? Is he soft to the body, or is he playing possum to get Fury in the ring like he claimed he did against Anthony Joshua? I'm gonna quote Cambosos right here. It's the art of war. You never let him know what you're thinking.
No, I believe he was hurt to the balls. I believe he got his Johnson's rung. Absolutely. I believe the cop rode up and pinched him. Got a fucking cup bite. And then, you know, it dropped because his balls. And then I don't think he needed the whole 5 minutes. And I think that weirdo ref. And again, he's not mandated to, that's not a rule. Like, you have to make him fight. But they are supposed to encourage him. And in fact, you see it all the time, especially in MMA. You ready? Come on. You ready? Let's go. Come on. You can do it. Let's go. I mean, they're almost aggressive with it. So, you know, that's the first time I've ever seen him just like, you know, I was waiting for him to go over and start fucking rubbing his neck. You all right, bro? Give him a back rub and shit.
I was almost thinking that the referee was going to stop it and just try to take it to the cards. That, you know, the way how long he was taking on the floor, I was like, this might not be good. But yeah, I think he might. I'm saying he might be playing possum to get somebody in the ring with him, bro.
That wouldn't have been good. If that happened, then yeah, I could understand why people would have been pissed. And I was hoping that wasn't going to happen. Look, for a second, I thought he was. I thought they were going to say he couldn't continue because of his balls, but.
Yeah, that's the way it seemed like to me too. And then the credit to Usyk too, being the ultimate competitor. He wasn't going to take the easy way out. And he said, fuck it, man, let's go. So shout out to him too.
I'll tell you one thing though, BDA, you guys, in the future, if I'm a fighter that's facing Usyk, I would still continue going to the body. Because whether he's soft or not, just keep going there and see what happens.
That was the key to victory for Joshua. And I kept saying it before the first fight. And obviously, I wasn't the only one that pointed out, but I was adamant about that. This guy is the relatively smaller guy. You guys are fucking 6 feet, 6 inches tall, whatever you may be. You outweigh him by 30 pounds. Guard the fucking body. There's no ifs and buts about it. But it's easier said than done, I suppose.
Heavyweights. Yeah, all heavyweights, right? That's Gonzalo's 100% right. That's what training any of them. It's the body. The body. They're brutal. I'm telling you, I've had the fucking pleasure of having my body ringed out, and it sucks, man. I mean, I sparred Mickey a bunch of times. Now think about that, man. He didn't mean to do it, but he would make me fucking, wish I didn't get hit in the body. The head, even if you get knocked out, you don't realize it happened. You wake up, oh shit, I got knocked out. Fortunately, I never got knocked out, like, out cold. I've been fucking out on my feet, but never like starched. And I'd much rather take headshots than a body shot that hurts. So absolutely, that should be the advice to everybody, especially if you got somebody who moves, like Usyk. He's going to beat you with his feet and his fucking movement. So the body the legs will follow.
I tell you, after the Devin Haney Lomachenko fan, people all of a sudden started jumping on my bandwagon, which is the body punching bandwagon. Before that, you couldn't get him to count a body shot. Then after the Loma Haney fight, all of a sudden the body shots count. Good. I want to say too, next week, slim pickings, but at least there's something. We've got from Manchester, England, we've got Liam Smith versus Chris Eubank Jr., the rematch. They already released the face-off that they did, when they start sit down, whatever they want to call it. And it's pretty entertaining. I mean, Chris Eubank is trying to flip it into that, I'm not making excuses, but I really am making excuses. You got to watch it to understand really what he's saying. We're going to talk about it on the next show. Should be interesting. And then on not this Friday, but the next, on September the 15th, that's the one I'm looking forward to. Luis Alberto Lopez versus Joet Gonzalez. Ooh, that's going to be a good one, fellas. That is going to be a good one. And then the next day, Saturday, William Cepeda, Camarón Cepeda takes on Mercito Gesta, who's coming off the Jojo Diaz win. So that should be interesting. So we still got some boxing coming up, fellas. Don't get it twisted. There might not be a super fight other than Canelo Charlo, but we get some entertaining fights that should keep everybody alive for until the end of the year. So, and there's still space to make more fights. Maybe Wilder Joshua, if we cross our fingers. That being said, fellas, we do have to go. I want to give a big shout out to Jimmy, a.k.a. the Jimarino, Gonzalo, a.k.a. the Guns. Recognize who was here earlier as well, Never Sobers. And that's about it, fellas. To everybody that called in, everybody in the chat. Shout out to you, fellas. I'm talking about, who am I talking about? I'm talking about Iron Fist, Eparakua, Sam Rando, The Boxing Realm, Real Talk Boxing, Lil Mac Punch Out, Mark Bray, Alfredo Contreras, Lucky Zim. If I forgot anybody, guys, you know who you are. Thanks again for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. Catch you on the next one, fellas. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.